Chapter 2175. Haha, but you don't have to worry about this at all. First, my third senior brother's painting skills are getting better and better. I guarantee that his paintings will be more lifelike than before. People will be able to recognize you just by looking at your faces. Second, the clothes that my fifth senior brother prepared are also the most popular styles. They are definitely more enchanting and beautiful than what Master Tion and the others are wearing. A Lingwu elder was so angry that he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His eyes rolled back, and he really fainted this time. The expressions of the other patriarchs were even uglier than if they were to cry, and they wished they could pass out as well. Li Wenyuan was really shriveled now. His voice trembled as he pleaded, what do you want? Just say it. I'll promise you anything. Just don't draw me that kind of painting. Yes, we're also willing to do anything. Miss June, God June, madam, we're begging you. We know we were wrong. We admit defeat, and we're willing to accept any punishment. But that painting, please don't draw it for us. Everyone present had seen the Tion family's unsightly paintings. When they looked at others, they could even gloat. But as soon as they imagined themselves, those immoral clothes, those unsightly postures, they couldn't help but want to die immediately. No. Even if they died, they couldn't embarrass themselves like this. Li Wenyuan even looked at Meng Baichuan, who was watching the show and drinking tea. Old Meng, Di Meng, I was wrong. Please ask them to spare me. I'm willing to agree to any conditions. Lingwu's database will all be shared with you. I'll give you all the elixirs and materials, sob. Meng Baichuan's hand that was holding the teacup trembled. Li Wenyuan became the dean at almost the same time as Di Yudao. He was such an arrogant person back then, daring to disrespect Dean Feng Tian, Xing Danqing, and Di Yudao. Now, he was crying tears and snot in front of him. Obviously, he was really scared. Meng Baichuan patted his little heart in fear and glanced at the 7 members of the carefree team. Fortunately, these 7 monsters were students of Constellation. Although he sympathized with Li Wenyuan, Meng Baichuan would not make a decision without Mu Yin and the others. Yun Ruhan, on the other hand, stood up and made the final decision. Let's do it this way. All your paintings of beauties will be redeemed according to Principal Li's standards. Everyone disperse. Go back and have a good rest. If there's anything else, we'll talk about it in 2 days. Luo Yu was a little unsatisfied. You're letting him go just like that. He had just thought of a few postures and wanted to try them out. Yun Ruhan looked at her coldly. Lan Shaoqi, have you forgotten about the matter of you not returning at night? Luo Yu's hair stood on end. It wasn't just Luo Yu. The other members of the Xiaoyao sect all looked guilty and didn't dare to look at Yun Ruhan. Even the fruit in Mu Yan's hand trembled and almost fell. During this trip to the Purple Cloud Realm, they had all promised eldest senior brother that they would keep a low profile. In the end, she was the one who didn't keep a low profile. Eldest senior brother isn't going to settle the score, is he? As a result, the unfettered 7 devils, who had bullied the pitiful Li Wenyuan and the others a moment ago, immediately stepped on their flying swords and returned to the Yawang branch. Late at night, the entire Starry School was quiet. However, the Yawang branch, which was supposed to be empty, was crowded with thousands of people. These people wore the same clothes and had the same bright eyes, looking at the absolute beauty standing in front of them. Chapter 2176. Following which, they knelt down in unison. The Netherflame Army greets Miss. Greetings, young master. Mu Yin smiles and glances at Xiao Bao. With a taut face, Xiao Bao waved his hand. Other than the 4 leaders, Yin Haoyin, Bai Yichen, Ru Yin, and Feng Haidang, the others followed Xiao Bao to another square without the slightest hesitation. There, the training array disc that Mayan had specially asked youngest martial uncle for had already been set up. The principle of this formation plate was somewhat similar to the blood slaughter sword formation, but it was not mainly used to train sword techniques. Instead, it was used to train military formations and tactics. Mu Yin looks at them with gentle eyes. You've done very well during this time. Yes, the Netherflame Army really did a good job. He did not think so when he was in the Ziyun realm. When she returned to the Azure Blue world, Mu Yin discovered that the Nether Flame army, or rather, the Black and Red Nether Flame, had already infiltrated every corner of the Azure Blue world. In the Mercenary Guild, she saw that the mercenary group called Inc. had already risen to second place in the Mercenary Guild of the Azure Blue domain. Moreover, they were only a few hundred points away from the top mercenary group. In the Whole Food Inn, she saw that the entrance and the pillars were engraved with inconspicuous black-red flame symbols. Even the hooligans, street children, and entertainers who were running around had the symbol of the death flame on their clothes and accessories. Mu Yin even had a misconception that the entire Azure Blue world, other than those great families, sects, and the 3 great academies, seemed to have been completely occupied by the Nether Flame army. And just now, she saw the core army of the Nether Flame army again. Their cultivation might not have improved by much, but their imposing manner and the murderous aura that had been tempered through blood and fire. They could all prove how strong they were now. If these Nether Flame army soldiers were to face a high-level cultivator one-on-one, they would definitely die. But if it was 100 versus 10, they would have a 50% chance of winning. If it were 1,000 against 100, then high-grade cultivators would be slaughtered like vegetables. Logically speaking, a golden core cultivator against an Nidia cultivator should be able to kill 10 of them easily. This was the difference between an army and a rogue cultivator. Mu Yan's praise made Yin Hao Yin and the others reveal happy smiles. After that, they reported the progress of this period of time to Mu Yin one by one. Just as Mu Yin thought, with the help of the wealthiest Jew family in the Azure Blue world, as well as the Nayland family and several other great families. The development of the Nether Flame army in the Azure Blue world could be described as advancing by leaps and bounds. Up until now, even Nayland Qing and the others didn't dare underestimate this rising power. However, even if they occupied the Azure Blue realm, it would still not be easy to advance into the Purple Cloud realm. The biggest problem was that the overall cultivation of the Nether Flame army was too low. Almost every one of them relied on Mayan's elixirs to ascend. And the side effect of this kind of ascension was that, except for a few people, the fasting stage was almost their limit. On this point, even Mu Yin was helpless. Her talismans and pills could help them refine their bodies and purify part of their spirit roots. But at the end of the day, it was impossible to turn a mortal who could not cultivate at all, or a cultivation loser, into a cultivation genius. TSK, who said he can't. Isn't it because you're useless? You have the heaven-defying skills of a Shun musician, but you can't put them to good use. Qi Huang's arrogant voice suddenly rings in Mu Yan's mind. Mu Yan was startled. She didn't care about this guy's infuriating words. Chapter 2177. Mu Yan quickly asks, "What do you mean? Is it that as long as I complete the second restoration of the Tian Mo Qin, I can activate the medicine skill and help them advance?" Qi Huang hums, "Give me all the crystals that the little medicine king gave you, and I'll tell you." Mu Yan's mouth twitches. The crystals that the medicine king gave her were said to be a thank-you gift from the poison peacock. There are no less than millions of high-grade crystals. And what's even more valuable is that the quality of these high-grade crystals is a lot better than the ones in the Xiojin continent. Mu Yan believes that if she were to exchange them, it might not be a 1-to-1 ratio. When she received these crystals, Mu Yan was simply overjoyed. She couldn't wait to hug Master Xiaojio and give him a few kisses. Plus those suckers of the Qilin team, cough the 5 million that the local tyrants gave her, and the additional reward from Dragon Soar Academy. Mu Yan suddenly went from being destitute to being rich again. She didn't expect that Qi Huang, this insatiably greedy brat, had already set his eyes on her. 30%. She grit her teeth in pain. 30% is too little? Do you think I'm a beggar? At least 80%. 50%, if you don't want to say it, then so be it. I don't believe that I can't figure it out after the Tian Mo Qin is restored. Qi Huang is still somewhat unwilling, but he finally compromises. TCH, 50% is 50%. This broken low-grade crystal, do you think this sage cares about it? If you don't care about it, then give it back to me. Cough, no, this sage needs it. Qi Huang hums. After the second stage of the Tian Mo Qin, your Shun musician skills will advance to the 7th rank, and you'll be able to choose the direction of improvement. Choose the direction of improvement? Correct. The first 6 stages of the Shun musician skills are all leveled up equally. But after reaching the 7th level, the choice of which skill to improve is up to you. The condition for improvement is the energy contained in the Tion Mo Chin. If the energy is exhausted and you want to continue to improve, you'll have to collect it yourself. Mu Yin looks pensive. If that's the case, wouldn't the Shun musician skills that she can master slowly decrease in the future? After all, those skills that haven't been upgraded, because their levels are too low, can't cause harm to cultivators of the same rank or higher. Even if they are upgraded, it's useless. As for the skills that were chosen to be upgraded, they would probably become even stronger. Chi Huang continues, when the Shun musicians advance to the 7th rank, a lot of medicine skills will be activated. For now, don't worry about the others and focus on improving the rebirth skill. When the time comes, you will naturally be able to help your subordinates continue to advance. Mu Yin was overjoyed and nodded heavily. It seems that the search for materials to repair the Tion Mo Chin must immediately be put on the agenda. Mu Yin looked at Bai Chen and the other 3. You guys can focus on developing in the Azure Blue world first. I will think of a way to improve the cultivation of the Nether Flame army. Yes, miss. None of them asked how they could think of a solution. After all, completely changing one's root bone was something that no one in the entire cultivation world had ever been able to do. But even if it was such an unimaginable promise, they still believed it without hesitation. Because the one who said those words is Jun Mayan. The next day, as soon as the Nether Flame army left, Mu Yin immediately became a pauper again. Looking at his empty storage ring, he thought about the millions of high-grade crystals that Qi Xiaowang had taken from him. Mu Yin only felt that her heart was dripping blood. The other people of the Xiao Yao sect wanted to give their crystals to their junior sister, but Mu Yin still refused. Chapter 2178. In reality, the entire Xiaorao sect, including Yun Ruhan, were all wastrels. Whether it was a few low-grade crystals or tens of thousands of top-grade crystals, they could not even keep them for a month. Basically, it was all spent. Moreover, half of the expenses were spent on their only martial nephew, Xiaobao. How could Mu Yin still have the nerve to accept their help? Although the people of the Xiaoyao clan were poor, the Starry School became rich overnight. The reason was obviously the money Li Wenyuan and the other clans had sent to buy the painting. The news of Lingwu College chief Li Wenyuan colluding with second-rate clans to force the Starry School to abdicate, only to end up coming home shorn, spread throughout the entire Azure Blue world. At this moment, almost everyone was clear about one thing. No matter whether the 7 from the Xiaorao sect stayed in Starry School in the future, the Starry School would rise rapidly with the support of the 7. Recently, the Starry School was often surrounded by people wanting to see their idols, the Xiaoyao 7. Everyone thought that the Starry School would definitely be celebrating and indulging in debauchery. However, these people did not know that. The Starry School was frighteningly quiet now. All the students were cultivating with all their might. This was because the 7, who were countless times stronger than them, had not relaxed for a moment since they returned. The horrifying power of the Blood Slaughter Sword Matrix created by Luo Yunxiao was also displayed in front of everyone. It made them realize that success and strength were not luck. Many people asked the Xiaorao sect to borrow the lowest-level Blood Slaughter Sword Matrix board. They wanted to become stronger even if they were covered in wounds. Some students were originally afraid of going deep into the Danyang mountain range to train, but now they went all out and entered one after another. Under the lead of the Xiaoyao 7, the Starry School students worshipped martial arts more and more. They believed that only by becoming stronger themselves was true strength. As a result, the Starry School's strength rose to a level that the other 2 schools could not catch up to in a short time. Of course, this was all in the future. While everyone else was cultivating, Jun Mayan, the number 1 of the Xiaorao 7, was wandering around the Woodfern Sea. Is the 100-mile sound net reliable? While flying, Mu Yin complained, "You drew such a big circle, and you didn't even explain clearly what you lost. This is really making me look for a needle in a haystack." And Qi Xiaowang, Didn't you say that as long as we get close, we'll be able to sense its existence? I've been flying for a few days, and you haven't even sensed a single hammer. Chi Huang's angry voice resounded in her mind. Can you blame me for this? The Tian Mo Chin space is one of the firmest spaces in the world. Ben Zun's senses are shielded, so of course he can't sense it. Otherwise, why don't you let me come out now? As he spoke, he was eager to try. Don't! You better behave yourself. Mu Yin snappily stops him. I already have enough enemies. You also said that in the Xiojin continent, you will cause some kind of fluctuation as soon as you come out. If I attract your enemies here, won't I be killed because of you? Chi Huang is so angry that he kicks the lawn into space and turns his head to ignore her. Mine is just about to go back after searching for a while. Suddenly, her gaze hardens, and the 7 absolute swords are unsheathed. The next moment, she sees a huge sea beast leap out of the woodfern sea, pouncing towards her. Chapter 21:79. Before Mu Yin could raise her sword, she heard a cry behind her. Be careful, miss. The 7 absolute swords fell almost at the same time as the cry. Roar! The sea beast let out a mournful cry and fell back into the sea. The blue sea surface was dyed red. Mu Yin withdrew the bloodless 7 absolute swords and turned in the direction of the cry. She saw a tall figure rushing over like a bolt of lightning. When he got closer, Mu Yin was surprised to find that it was someone she knew. Young Master Ning? It was young Master Suicide Ning Su, whom Mu Yin and the others had met in Cloud-Piercing City, where Ouyang Qing was. At that time, because this person's eyes were somewhat similar to her own, Mu Yin had some impression of him. Ning Su was surprised to see her, but then he smiled warmly. Miss Mu, I didn't expect to meet you here. Damn! She wondered what kind of grudge this guy had with the Jun family. Every time he saw Mu Yin, he would call her Miss Mu and never use the word Jun. Mu Yin didn't mind, smiling. Why are you here, young Master Ning? Ning Su said solemnly. A few days ago, someone sensed an explosion of demonic energy near the Woodfern Sea. I heard the news, so I came to investigate. He paused, frowning slightly. There were indeed remnants of demonic energy in this sea, but it disappeared without a trace in an instant. This is clearly abnormal, so I wandered here for a few days to search for karma. Mu Yin was speechless. After parting with Ning Su, she had also heard of the reason why Ning Su had such a cruel nickname, Young Master Suicide. It was because he killed demons like flies, and as long as it was a demon, he wouldn't let it go. The lives of demons were like tofu to him. How dedicated was he to his work? He only heard that there was demonic energy in the Woodfern Sea, so he rushed over. He sensed traces of it and wandered around for a few days. Ning Su continued, Why are you here, Miss Mu? Although there aren't many sea beasts in the eastern region of the Woodfern Sea, they are very strong. If you go deeper, you won't be able to fight against them. Mu Yin thought about it. I'm looking for treasures. Ning Su was stunned. Treasure hunt? That's right. Mu Yin sighs. Young Master Ning, you also know that the consumption of true cultivation is enormous, and the crystal stones cannot make ends meet. If he didn't find some treasures, it would be hard for him to pass his days. I wonder if young Master Ning knows where I can find treasures? I don't care about elixirs or spirit trees. Ning Su stares blankly for a good long while before he takes out a Chinquan bag and hands it to Mu Yin. Miss Mu, I'm not good at identifying treasures. This is what I obtained after killing demons for several decades. If you don't mind, this time, it was Mu Yin's turn to be shocked. You're giving me what you've gained from killing demons for decades? Hey! Brother, I don't think I'm related to you in any way, right? Ning Su revealed an awkward expression and lowered his voice. I don't know why, but the moment I saw you, I felt that we were fated to meet. It's as if you're my long-lost sister. If you don't mind, these things... The person on the other side handed over the Chinquan sack again. Mine stares blankly at the brows and eyes of the man in front of her that are similar to her own. Only after a long while does she push the Chinquan bag back. Ning Su immediately shows a disappointed expression. However, Mu Yan's next sentence makes his eyes light up all of a sudden. Chapter 2180. Since you think of me as a sister, don't call me Miss Mu. It's awkward. Just call me Mu Yin, Big Brother Ning. Big Brother Ning. Ning Su's stiff face blossomed into a brilliant smile. His facial features were deep, as if they had been carved by a knife, and there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. Even though he had the same peach blossom eyes as Mu Yan's, they didn't have the slightest hint of charm. Instead, they carried a chilling indifference. But when he smiled, his entire face was like a black and white ink painting that had been dyed in color. His originally handsome features suddenly became bright and beautiful. He looked even more similar to Mu Yin. Mu Yin fell into thought. Could she really be related to this Ning Su by blood? Was it on her father's side or on her mother's side? Ning Su put away the Cosmos sack with some regret. The things Big Brother collected were all contaminated by the demon race. They really aren't suitable for you, Mu Yin. Suddenly, he seemed to think of something inside. It's a pity that Big Brother's cultivation has already surpassed the leaving aperture stage. Otherwise, I could enter the Woodfern's secret realm and bring back more treasures for you. That was a lot of information. First of all, Ning Su's cultivation had already surpassed the leaving aperture stage. Was he a tribulation cultivator? Mu Yin hadn't expected that the Big Brother she casually met would be so strong. And what was the Woodfern's secret realm? The Woodfern's secret realm is a treasure trove that many people in the cultivation continent flock to. It opens once every 10 years, and the treasures inside far exceed the warehouses of a second- or third-rate sect in the Purple Cloud realm. I also heard that Scarlet Flame Gold and Black Ghost will appear this time. Even the first-rate families and sects of the Purple Cloud realm will send people to compete for them. Big Brother also went in 10 years ago, but it was mainly to kill a demon cultivator, so he didn't see much of the treasures inside. Mu Yin couldn't hear the rest of Ning Su's words, because all she could hear was Qi Huang's clamor. Scarlet Flame Gold and Black Ghost Wood. Those are the two. Those two are very likely to be the materials to repair the Sky Demon's Zither. Mu Yin was suspicious. Didn't you say you don't know what the materials to repair the Sky Demon's Zither will become? Stupid. I don't know what it will become, but I know the attributes of those materials. One was fire gold, and the other was iron wood. Just by hearing the names Scarlet Flame Gold and Black Ghost Wood, one could tell what they were. There's a high chance that it's them. Junmayan, go to the Woodfern's secret realm. You have to get in there and get that thing. Mayan's eyes brightened. Her mood also somewhat agitated. Big Brother Ning, can I go to the Woodfern's secret realm myself? Ning Su stared blankly and hurriedly said, Mayan, you mustn't go. It's too dangerous there. Besides, you won't be able to get in. Only after Ning Su's explanation did Mu Yin understand. As it turned out, the Woodfern's secret realm was a place that only nascent soul cultivators could enter. Of course, there were many sects that used pills and secret arts to suppress the cultivation of leaving aperture realm cultivators so that they could enter the Woodfern's secret realm. However, that was only limited to the first to third tier of the leaving aperture realm. If he wanted to suppress his cultivation to the nascent soul stage, it would cause irreversible damage to his body. The gains would not make up for the losses. There were ways to suppress one's cultivation, but he had never heard of a method to falsely raise one's cultivation. Mu Yin was a little depressed, although she was currently at the peak of the Golden Core stage. She had a perfect core and advanced to a perfect nascent soul. Chapter 2181. The difficulty of breaking through the bottleneck was far greater than breaking through to the nascent soul stage. Just look at how long she had been stuck at the peak of Anidia. But the Woodfern Sea was about to open in 3 days. If she missed this opportunity, who knew who would get the Scarlet Flame Gold and Black Ghost Wood? She wouldn't even have the chance to find a needle in a haystack. Hearing that she wanted to forcefully advance, Ning Su waved his hands in fright. No, definitely not. It's too dangerous and it'll hurt your body. Mu Yin, get rid of that thought. Entering the Woodfern secret realm doesn't just require the right conditions. You also need the Woodfern medallion. I won't give it to you. If you really need treasures and crystals, I can help you earn them. Anyway, no matter what she said, Ning Su, who had been so obedient to his new sister, wouldn't agree no matter what. Mu Yin was helpless. Seeing that the sky was getting dark, she could only return to the starry school. Halfway there, he saw 3 figures whizzing over. 6 Senior Sister, you're such a bad friend. You came to explore the Woodfern Sea by yourself, and didn't even invite us along. He yelled, you're too much, 6 Senior Sister. Little Junior Sister, have you found any fun places? Let's go together. Why don't we flip the spiritual martial school upside down? I've been tortured by Uncle Master's sword array for the past few days. They were the 3 troublemakers from the Xiaorao sect, Lung Yumao, Ling Yuxing, and Luo Yu. When they got closer, they saw Ning Su standing beside Mu Yin. They couldn't help but look surprised. Mr. Jiweming? Junior Sister, why are you 2 together? Could it be that there's another demon? Where? Let's go kill him together. Seeing the 3 of them so eager, Mu Yin couldn't help but laugh. 4th Senior Sister and the others hadn't been able to participate in the battle against Zhao Xiong, especially when she saw Mu Yin and Luo Yu injured. She hated herself for not being there. During this period of time, she had been holding back her energy and wanted to fight someone. The last time Ning Su saw the people of the Xiaorao sect, he was still cold and distant. But this time, he had recognized Mu Yin as his sister, and Lung Yuma and the others were Mu Yan's senior and junior brothers. Hence, his attitude became much more amiable. As the few of them were talking, Ning Su's expression suddenly changed. He abruptly turned his head to look in a direction and said with a cold smile, there are indeed demonic creatures here. I didn't wait in vain for so many days. Mu Yin, stay here and don't move. Then, without waiting for their reaction, he flew westward as fast as lightning. Mu Yin and the others looked at each other and hurriedly followed. Only now did Mu Yin realize how high Ning Su's cultivation was. The 5 of them set off one after the other, not a single breath apart. But not long after, they couldn't even see Ning Su's back anymore. The 4 of them flew for a quarter of an hour before they saw a small island. On the small island, there were faint, strange energy fluctuations and even mournful screams. This voice was very familiar, causing the faces of Mu Yin and the others to change. Teacher Yao Guang? So, the demonic creature that Big Brother Ning sensed was Deputy Dean Su? Oh no, quick! Let's hurry over! On the small island, Ning Su held a completely black, rootless wood in his hand, looking down at the disheveled, seemingly deranged woman. He sneered, as the daughter of the Ning family, you actually have illicit relations with demonic creatures. Ning Yaowang, what else do you want to say? Chapter 2182. Ning Yaowang bit her lip. She held the sword in her hand, but the tip of the sword couldn't stop trembling. Facing Ning Su, all of her arrogance and presumptuousness disappeared like a flame that had been extinguished by water. Young master, I've already left the Ning family. I don't want the glory of the Ning family or the benefits that come with being a member of the Ning family. I'm not colluding with demons. It's just that the person I love has unfortunately fallen into the demonic path because of me. I just want to protect my lover for the rest of my life. We won't hurt or harm anyone. Is that not okay? Tears fell from Ning Yaowang's eyes. Her eyes, which had always been proud, were now filled with pleading. She had no choice because Su Iluan and the rootless wood were both in Ning Su's hands. As long as Ning Su willed it, Su Iluan's soul would be destroyed. Ning Yaowang was a beauty to begin with. Even after being trapped in the All Formation for decades, her face hadn't aged at all. Seeing such a beautiful woman cry so pitifully, even someone with a heart of stone would be softened. However, there wasn't a trace of pity in Ning Su's eyes. As for the touching love story that she spoke of, he did not have the slightest interest in investigating it. He looked down at Ning Yaowang from above, his gaze cold. When he turned to the rootless wood in his hand, it turned into pure disgust. No matter how many reasons there are, demons are demons. They're dirty, ugly, and evil. If he really loves you, he should stick to his heart and become stronger with his own strength. He shouldn't let you join forces with demons. Ning Yaowang. Have you forgotten the #1 iron rule of the Ning families? No matter who it is, as long as they have anything to do with the demons, they're the Ning family's first-class sinners. Kill. Ning Yaowang's face was deathly pale, and her body swayed. She knew. How could she not know? How could she forget how tragic that disaster had been? How bloody that massacre had been? Even after so many years had passed, how could she forget? She heard that the bloody hell from 20 years ago had been repeated. The Ning family's hatred for the demons was deeply carved into their bones, into their flesh and blood. So, after escaping from the All Formation and learning that Asu had fallen into the demonic path, she made up her mind to forever forget that she was a member of the Ning clan. She would rather live in seclusion with Asu in the deep mountains and wilderness forever, give up her identity as a cultivator, and spend the rest of her life together. However, Ning Yaowang didn't expect that. Asu and the Rootless would have just started to merge when Ning Su noticed. Ning Yaowang didn't even feel that much fear and despair when she was discovered by the Marquis that Di Yudao mentioned. But why was it Ning Su? It was the young master of the Ning family. He was someone she couldn't defy, and she didn't have the strength to do so. Ning Su threw the rootless wood in his hand onto the ground and said coldly, "Kill this demonic creature with your own hands, and I will take it that you have never betrayed the Ning family." "No," Ning Yaowang answered without hesitation. Ning Su's expression did not change in the slightest. "Then kill yourself in front of me. You are not fit to be a descendant of the Ning family. Yaowang, you destroyed the rootless trees." Su Iluan's agitated roar came from the rootless wood. "I should have died decades ago. Now that I'm alive, I'm neither a human nor a ghost. I'm just struggling at death's door. Yaowang, you are the one who should live. Kill me. I beg you, kill me." Chapter 2183. Tears rolled down Ning Yaowang's cheeks. She shook her head lightly and slowly raised the longsword in her hand. "Asu, we had a deal. Whether we live or die, we will not be separated. If you live, I live. If you are in the rootless tree, I will also find a rootless tree to rest on. If you die, how can I live alone?" "No! Yaowang, no!" The rootless wood on the ground shook violently, as if Su Iluan wanted to rush out. But because of Ning Su's magic power, he was firmly sealed inside. "Kill me, Ning Su. Kill me if you have the ability. I am a monster, and my hands are stained with the blood of countless human cultivators. But what does all of this have to do with Yaowang? Kill me and let Yaowang live. Just take it as I'm begging you." The scene of them pledging their lives to each other would move most people. However, Ning Su's face remained cold. He watched as Ning Yaowang slowly placed the sword on his neck and cut open his blood vessels. Su Iluan's blood-sobbing cries and pleas could be heard. However, he seemed to have a heart of stone and was not moved in the slightest. Ning Yaowang's throat was cut open and blood gushed out. Her body fell limply to the ground. But even at the end of her life, her gaze was still glued to the rootless wood. Her pale lips gently opened and closed, reciting the two words that were deeply engraved in her soul. "Asu. Yaowang. Ah. Jade light." Yaowang. Black gas gushed out of the rootless wood along with the blood. Su Iluan's voice became more and more shrill, like a crazed demon, but it also contained endless misery, despair, and sorrow. "Yaowang. Someone save Yaowang. Heavens, what did she do wrong for you to treat her like this? Ning Su, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you." There were no ripples in Ning Su's eyes. When he heard Su Iluan's words, disgust and coldness flashed across his face. He raised his sword and slashed at the rootless tree. However, at this moment, a sword light flashed and Ning Su's long sword was deflected. For figures rushed down like lightning. 3 of them stood in front of the rootless wood, while the last one quickly rushed in front of Ning Yaowang, who was on the verge of death. The rootless wood, or Su Iluan, seemed to have discovered Mu Yin. His heart was filled with despair, like a drowning man who had caught a duckweed. Jumayan, Yao Guang, quickly save Yao Guang. As long as Yao Guang lives, I'm willing to pay any price. Mu Yin didn't have the time to pay attention to him. Her fingers flew, and dozens of silver needles pierced into Yao Guang's body. The blood that was gushing out like a fountain slowly stopped. Mu Yin took out a pill and stuffed it into Yao Guang's mouth. Raising her voice, she said, "Instructor Yao Guang, hang in there, hang in there. Do you hear me? Deputy Dean Su is calling for you. If you die, do you think you can live alone? Can you still recognize me? I am Jun Mayan. If I can save you once, I can save you again. Do you trust me?" Yao Guang's eyelids twitched, and the pulse that had almost disappeared slowly reappeared. Mu Yin breathes a sigh of relief. She takes out the Tian Mo Chin and gently plays it. This time they arrived too late. Ning Yao Guang didn't hold back in the slightest. She cut her own throat, and the blood was almost drained. Mu Yin could stop the bleeding, but she couldn't snatch back the vitality that she had lost. The only way to save her was to exchange vitality for vitality, exchange lifespan for lifespan. Chapter 2184. Benevolence of the Saint. Mu Yin, what are you doing? Ning Su's expression had not changed at all when facing Ning Yaoguang and Su Yiluan, but now it changed. Get away from these two demons. Mu Yin was playing the Guqin and had no time for him. Luo Yu smiled and said, "How can we get away? These two are the Starry School's teachers." Lung Yuma stabbed her sword into the ground. The Starry School's motto is that whoever dares to bully our people will be beaten to death. Ning Su's face darkened. Don't you know that the rootless wood contains demons? Whether they are demons or not doesn't stop them from being our teachers. As the saying goes, a teacher for a day is a father for life. Your father accidentally fell to the demon. Are you going to abandon him? That can't be. This doesn't meet the standards of the new socialist youth. As Luo Yu spoke, she blurted out the words that Bai Xie always kept on saying. Ning Su's frown deepened, and his voice became colder. So, you've decided to protect the demons? Ling Yusheng, who was usually quiet, suddenly said, "Do we only judge whether one is a human or a demon by what technique they practice? Demons might not be able to control themselves, or they might be forced to do so. Humans could also be insatiably greedy. They were even more disgusting and frightening than demons and ghosts. To us, there is only good and evil, not human, demon, or demon. Or is it that Prince Jueming has killed countless demons in his life, so he feels that as a human, he is better than demons?" Ning Su's gaze flickered, but it was only for an instant before he immediately regained his cold and merciless look. "You're making excuses. The cultivation techniques that the devil race cultivates are all crooked and evil. They can infinitely magnify the 7 emotions and 6 desires of living beings. Once they fall to the demon, killing and madness will become their nature. How can they be controlled by reason? If we don't kill one demon, we may implicate thousands of innocent living beings. You're still young and don't understand these things. I won't argue with you. Now move away, or else don't blame me for being rude." Lung Yuma sneered. "You're full of reasons, but I don't like them. Even if we have to die, we'll protect him until the very end." Ning Su took a deep breath, and an inconspicuous knife slowly appeared in his hand. "Very well. Then today I will teach you all what the consequences of colluding with the devil race and associating with devils are." The auras of both sides were on the verge of exploding. Just then, the sound of Mu Yan's zither suddenly stopped. Ning Yaoguang slowly opens her eyes, and in a trance she sees Mayan's face. She murmurs, "Miss." Mu Yan didn't hear what she was saying and asked softly, "Teacher Yaoguang, what are you talking about?" Ning Yaoguang, on the other hand, suddenly woke up and sat up, looking around. When he saw that Ning Su was facing off against the members of the Xiao Yao squad, his expression immediately changed. "Mu Yan, quick, take everyone and run. Get out of here." This has nothing to do with you. Mu Yin pats Ning Yaoguang's hand, motioning for her to calm down. Only then did he stand up and look at Ning Su. Big brother Ning, I heard everything you said just now. You want to kill Vice-Dean Su because you're worried that his demonic nature will enter his soul and kill the innocent? She smiled slightly and picked up the rootless wood from the ground, casually shaking it. That's completely groundless fear. Ning Su frowned, a hint of irritation appearing in his eyes. Mu Yin, I don't want to make a move against you, but exterminating demons and protecting justice is Ning Su's wish. Chapter 2185. Big brother Ning, let me finish. Mu Su continued unhurriedly. In fact, Vice-Dean Su had already died half a year ago. In order to save Master Yao Guang, his demonic body was completely burned, and his demonic seed was completely extinguished. Even his soul was only left with this broken strand. Even if it was nurtured in the rootless wood, it would take at least a few decades to condense a true soul. I'm sure Big Brother Ning knows very well that the rootless wood is a neutral and peaceful treasure. If the soul is nurtured for a few decades, even if there is demonic energy left, it will eventually be eliminated by the spiritual power of the rootless wood. So after a few decades, it will definitely be a spirit body, not a demonic body. Mu Yin looked at the somewhat lifeless Ning Su and blinked. Since the current Vice-Dean Su is harmless and doesn't even have the power to resist, he will become a spirit again after a few decades. On what basis do you say that he is a demonic creature that will harm humans? For a moment, the small island was deathly silent. Ning Yaoguang couldn't come back to her senses. But could it be calculated like this? But thinking about it, it didn't seem wrong. Guaranteeing that Su Yiluan wouldn't harm humans. Ning Su definitely wouldn't believe it. But Mu Yin used an irrefutable fact to prove that Su Yiluan didn't have the ability to do evil. When he had the ability to do evil, he would definitely return to a human soul. In this way, if he wasn't a demon, he naturally wouldn't be a target of young Master Jueming. Ning Su was a bit confused, but he was once a demon. He must have killed innocent people. So didn't he pay the price for what he did back then? Mu Yin continues to interrupt him with a smile. Think about it. A normal person with a mind of their own let you lie in a cold log for decades, and your lover is right in front of you, but you can't hug or kiss her. Others eat and drink well, but he can't taste anything and can only watch. If Master Yao Guang falls in love with another man, he can't do anything about it. Isn't that tragic enough? Ning Yaoguang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. However, the killing intent on Ning Su's body was gradually dissipating. This was the first time that Ning Su's conviction to kill the demon race was shaken, and it was Mu Yin who affected him. This made Ning Su's mind involuntarily churn with memories from a long time ago that he wanted to forget. He furrowed his brows and gritted his teeth. Even if there's only a 1 in 10,000 chance, I can't give the monsters a chance to rise again. Mu Yin raises her eyebrows. He hadn't expected that Ning Su would still not give up on killing Su Yiluan even after he had said so much. This big brother Ning, or rather, the Ning clan, just how deep was their hatred towards the demon clan? Mu Yin sighs. Looks like I have no choice but to use my trump card. Mu Yin waved her hand into the space, and a delicate and adorable boy who looked like a little elf appeared by her side. Even without Mayan's signal, Xiao Bao obediently runs to Ning Su's side and tugs at his clothes. Uncle, can you not kill Uncle Su? Ning Su lowers his head and sees that small face that's 70 to 80% similar to Mayan's, and those big watery eyes looking at him. His entire person is petrified, especially that uncle. He opens his mouth, and after a long while, he says in a hoarse voice, What did you call me? Xiao Bao's little face is taut, his voice is crisp, and his entire person is cute and adorable. Baidu's search, UC Book League website, let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all updated in seconds. Chapter 2186. Mom said you're her new big brother. Mom's big brother is Xiaobao's uncle. Are you Xiaobao's uncle? In the face of such a cute baby, could anyone say no? Absolutely not. Anyway, Ning Su's entire body froze. He didn't dare to move, afraid that he'd pull his clothes. Just like that, he dropped the cute baby. Although he'd seen Xiaobao in Cloud City and thought the baby was pretty, he felt completely different before and after. Muyin quickly threw the rootless wood to Ning Yaoguang and waved at her. Muyin quickly throws the rootless wood to Ning Yaoguang and waves at her. Everyone in the Ning clan knew that the young master of the main line, Ning Su, was inflexible and didn't have any emotions. Everyone in the Ning clan knew that the young master of the direct line of descent, Ning Su, was inflexible and did not have any emotions. This was also why Ning Yaoguang fell into despair the moment she saw Ning Su and chose to commit suicide without hesitation. But who could tell her who was the panicking man being grabbed by a baby's clothes? Ning Yaoguang only snapped out of her daze when she saw Ning Su. She hurriedly flew away from the island. It was only when the rootless wood swayed that Ning Yaoguang came back to her senses. She hurriedly flew away from the small island at light speed. During this time, Ning Su glanced at their backs as they left. He seemed to want to make a move, but Xiaobao was pulled back and stumbled. The Xiaoyao sect looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh. The Xiaoyao sect looked at each other and couldn't help but sigh. In terms of invincibility, it was still their precious disciple nephew. From the old to the young, from humans to demons, from demons to spirits, no one could block their precious disciple nephew's cute attacks. Starry School, Headmaster's Office. Meng Baichuan was cultivating when he saw the unlatched window suddenly open and a figure flipped in. After entering, she couldn't help but look back to make sure no one had seen her before heaving a sigh of relief. Meng Baichuan looked at the beautiful girl's sneaky behavior and couldn't help but come back to his senses. Jun Muyin, what's the matter in the middle of the night? Muyin closed the window and smiled sheepishly at Meng Baichuan. Principal Meng, may I ask if you have a spot to enter the Woodfern's secret realm? Meng Baichuan jumped in fright. The Woodfern's secret realm? Who's going there? Absolutely not. Every time the Woodfern's secret realm opened, countless people died inside. It was said that there were incomparably powerful, high-level, vicious beasts inside. Basically, every heavenly treasure had a vicious beast guarding it. Even if you were lucky enough to escape from the claws of the vicious beasts, the competition between cultivators will only become more bloody and cruel. 100 years ago, an elder of the Starry School went there once because he was quite powerful. However, he never appeared again after that. That place is definitely not a place for fun. Don't go there easily. Muyin touched her chin, and her eyes lit up. Does this mean that the Starry School really has a place? Where's the Woodfern token? Where is it? When Meng Baichuan saw how excited she was, his eyes widened in disbelief. Why you? Don't tell me you're thinking of going by yourself? Don't joke around. Only nascent soul cultivators can enter the Woodfern's secret realm. You're only in the Golden Core realm? Yes, that's right. You're only in the Golden Core realm. You won't be able to enter even if you wanted to. Thinking of this, Meng Baichuan heaved a sigh of relief. Baidu search for the UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 2187. Meng Baichuan knew that these guys from the All-K branch were extremely daring. Thankfully, only nascent soul cultivators were allowed to enter the Woodfern's secret realm. Otherwise, these people might really run away regardless of the danger. Muyin beamed and said, Dean, you don't have to worry about this. Give me the Woodfern token, and I'll think of something else. Meng Baichuan jumped up from his chair and moved classmate Muyin. What are you doing? Is he really going to the Woodfern's secret realm? No, absolutely not. That place was really dangerous. Every year, the major clans and sects of the Ziyun world would send their elites into the Ziyun world. Even so, less than 50% of them would return alive. Furthermore, there would be quite a few leaving Aperture Realm cultivators among them. How could a golden core realm young lady like you possibly return safely? No, 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 I will never agree to it. Just give up. Mine thinks, what's wrong with you Onying? This young lady kills a dozen of them without hesitation. So, what if it was an out-of-body experience? You're speaking as if you haven't killed them before. However, she couldn't reveal the fact that she had killed a leaving Aperture Realm cultivator. He had no choice but to plead with Meng Baichuan over and over again, assuring him that he had many ways to escape and that he wouldn't die so easily. In the end, Meng Baichuan was at his wit's end because of her pestering. He sighed softly and said, "It's really hard on you, the prodigies, to stay in Constellation. What Constellation can give you is too little. Student Mu Yin, when you return from the Woodfern's secret realm, leave the Azure Blue realm and head to the Violet Cloud realm." Mine stares blankly at Meng Baichuan. Meng Baichuan smiled at her. "I'm definitely not speaking out of anger. The Azure Blue realm is too small and too weak. It has long since lost the stage for you to display your abilities. Only the Purple Cloud realm is a place where you can spread your wings and soar. You have already caused enough commotion in the Azure Blue realm, but in the Purple Cloud realm, there are still many people who don't even know of the existence of the Unfettered Seven. It's time to let the name of the Xiao Yao Seven resound throughout the entire Xian boundary. Let them taste the fear of being dominated by Yi Liangshun and Jun Mayan." Cough. What did he mean by letting them taste the fear of being dominated by Yi Liangshun and Jun Mayan? He made it sound like she was a demon. "No, you are. Meng Baichuan's voice turned gentle as he continued. "If you feel tired one day, you're welcome to come back anytime. The gates of the Starry School will always be open for you." Mu Yin feels as if her heart is soaked in soft, warm water, soft and soft. He was reluctant to leave, but he knew that he had to leave. Why did they insist on returning to the Starry School after the Soaring Dragon became famous? They clearly knew that there was no one in the Starry School who could teach them, and no one who could provide them with pills or materials. Perhaps it was because here they could experience the feeling of home, right? Mu Yin took the Woodfern token from Meng Baichuan and gently caressed it with her fingers. The token looked very old, and there were bloodstains on it that could not be washed away. After the seniors of the Starry School had died in the Woodfern's secret realm, they had been sent back by the guardians of the secret realm. The bloodstains on it were proof of how dangerous the Woodfern's secret realm was. But if a cultivator wanted to become stronger, didn't they have to fight against the heavens? If she shrank back because she was afraid of danger, how could she become stronger? How could she protect the people important to her? Baidu search for the UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 2188. How long would it take for her to be qualified to stand by Di Ming Ju's side? Mayan solemnly thanks Meng Baichuan, and only then does she ride her sword in the direction of Yaoguang Branch. Her heart ached at the thought of Di Mingju. How long has it been since that bastard last appeared? Could it be that he had forgotten about me because he was in the Xiaoxing continent? Junior sister, what's that in your hand? Mayan was lost in her thoughts when she heard Lung Yuma's voice, startling her. She looked up and saw Lung Yuma and Luo Yu waiting at the entrance of the Alcade branch. The two were about to continue asking questions when Mayan hurriedly covered their mouths. Mu Yin quickly covered the mouths of the two people and dragged them to a remote corner. "Keep your voice down. If you wake up Big Senior Brother and Big Brother Ning, I will make you look good." Lung Yuma and Luo Yu looked at each other, then suddenly realized the Woodfern token. Why was Mayan so careful to look for Meng Baichuan like a thief? It was because she mentioned going to the Woodfern's secret realm after returning to the Alcade branch. Although Golden Core cultivators weren't allowed to enter, Mayan felt that she would be able to find a way to sneak in as long as she got the token. Lung Yuma and Luo Yu, who were afraid that life would be too boring, immediately clamored to go with her. The result was obvious. The three were mercilessly suppressed and taught a lesson by Yun Ruhan. Yun Ruhan's expression was unprecedentedly solemn. She glared at Mayan and said, I heard from Master that even nascent soul cultivators who enter the Woodfern's secret realm have a high casualty rate. Even leaving Aperture Realm, cultivators die. Are you tired of living? A golden core cultivator wants to enter the Woodfern's secret realm? Mayan snorted. So what if they're leaving body stage? Didn't I kill them all the same? I can testify. Luo Yu quickly raised her hand. Lung Yuma gloomily said, this old lady has never met an leaving body stage cultivator. It's too unfair. Yun Ruhan immediately felt a headache coming on. I'm warning you three, behave yourselves. No one is allowed to enter the Woodfern's secret realm, and no one is allowed to ask young Master Ning for the Woodfern token. If I find out that you still dare to take the risk, I'll have no choice but to inform Junior Uncle. Lung Yuma said, damn, eldest senior brother, you're still complaining? Yun Ruhan glared at her until she shrank her neck before turning to leave. Luo Yu and Lung Yuma were a little resentful. But knowing that golden core cultivators weren't allowed to enter the Woodfern's secret realm, and the dangers within were unimaginable, they could only give up on the idea. Who would have thought that after they dispelled the idea, Mu Yin would actually take another path and run off to find Meng Baichuan? No, that's not fair. If you want to go, let's go together. That's right, sixth senior sister. You're too much. Don't tell me you want to leave us behind and go to the Woodfern's secret realm yourself. Muyan has a headache. Just as she is about to speak, she suddenly feels a chill on her back. Then, Ning Su's cold voice sounded. Muyan, are you really going to the Woodfern's secret realm? Mayan pointed at the two troublemakers and turned around with a bitter face. Big brother Ning, I'll tell you the truth. There's something in the Woodfern's secret realm that I must obtain. So no matter how dangerous it is, I must go. Not to mention, we're cultivators. How can we retreat just because there's danger? Big brother Ning, you want to hunt down the devil race. Don't tell me that just because the strength of the devil race is stronger than you decided to retreat? Baidu search for the UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 2189. Under the night sky, Ning Su looked at her expressionlessly and said coldly, if I say one thing, you're worth 10. Mu Yin was a little intimidated by his stare and was about to hide the Woodfern token. Ning Su's rigid expression suddenly softened. He sighed helplessly and dotingly. He reached out and patted her head. I really can't do anything about you. Under the shocked gazes of Mu Yin and Lung Yuma, Ning Su blushed. He whispered, return the token. The aura on the Starry School token is too weak. You'll become the main target of the beasts. I'll give you the Woodfern token tomorrow. I want 3. Luo Yu immediately said. Ning Su paused. All right, 3. The 3 of them were overjoyed. Long live Brother Ning. After agreeing to give the Woodfern token, Ning Su did not leave immediately. Instead, he sent Mu Yin back to her room. Luo Yu and the others guessed that Ning Su had something to say to Mu Yin and did not follow. After entering the room, Mu Yin said sincerely, Brother Ning, thank you. Whether it was letting instructor Yao Guang go or giving her the Woodfern token, they were both against Ning Su's wishes. In a person like Ning Su, one look and one could tell that he was the kind of person who would not break his own principles even if he died. But in just 2 days, he had broken his own rules twice for Mu Yin. Ning Su's expression was a little dazed. After a long while, he murmured softly, once upon a time, someone treated me very, very well. I always wanted to repay her when I grew up, but then his expression suddenly twisted as he thought of something. The bone-chilling hatred and depth of hatred made his originally handsome and solemn face appear somewhat sinister. Mu Yin was startled and subconsciously stepped back, calling out in a low voice, Big Brother Ning? Ning Su suddenly came back to his senses. Seeing Mu Yin step back in shock, he instinctively reached out to pull her back. Don't be afraid of me. Don't hate me. But halfway through his sentence, Ning Su's hand touched Mu Yan's clothes. The temperature in the room suddenly dropped to an extreme. Ning Su, who was already distracted, seemed to be hit by something. His eyes widened and his body swayed. Then he collapsed. Big brother Ning? Mu Yin was shocked and quickly went over to help him. But at this moment, his body was suddenly pulled into a scorching embrace. A certain person's voice sounded in his ears. Big brother Ning, are you calling me that affectionately? Yin Yin, are you very worried about him? Mu Yin suddenly stiffens. His nose was filled with a familiar scent. She slowly turned around, and a familiar face suddenly came into view. Di Mingju. He had finally appeared. Di Mingju holds his wife. The joy of reuniting after a long separation is about to be washed away by the jealousy and vinegar that fills his heart. Who told him to have just arrived, and he wanted to hug Mayan to ease his longing for her. In the end, he saw an adulterer that he had never seen before enter Mayan's room in the middle of the night, and even tried in vain to touch his Yin Yin. The most important thing is that Yin Yin actually calls this adulterer Ning, big brother. Jun Shangdarin is immediately overcome by jealousy and anger. Without thinking, he uses his soul pressure to knock the adulterer unconscious. Now, facing Mu Yan's glare, Jun Shangdarin, who had always been omnipotent and would never go back on his word, is somewhat lacking in confidence. But he still keeps his face taut and coldly says, "Why are you glaring at Ben Jun? Knocking your big brother Ning unconscious. You're distressed." Baidu search, UC Book League website, let you experience the latest and fastest chapters. All updates in seconds. Chapter 2190. Before he could finish his words, Jun Shangdarin has already been grabbed by his lapel and dragged forward. Then, soft lips, with endless longing, are pressed against him. Di Mingju only feels that at that moment, all the jealousy, and anger have been completely washed away. What remains is only a deep-rooted love and a burning desire. He raises his hand and throws the unconscious Ning Su out of the room. Then he picks up Mu Yin, presses her against the wall, and deeply kisses her. The sunlight shines in from the window, and Mu Yin suddenly awakens from her sleep. She looks around, but she finds that her clothes are intact, and there's no one around her. The radiance on her face instantly dims, and disappointment surges into her heart like a tide. Could it be that everything last night was just a dream because she missed Di Mingju too much? Or could it be that after Di Mingju came, he left in a hurry? Just as she is feeling depressed, the fragrance of food suddenly bursts into her nose. This smell is refreshing and makes people's appetites move. Moreover, it's clearly not the food that Fifth Brother is good at. Mu Yin quickly gets up and follows the fragrance. Soon, she sees the scene of Jun Shangdarin busy in front of the stove in the small kitchen. There's also Xiao Bao, wearing an apron. His little face is taut as he puts the dishes on the table, and he carefully uses magic to prevent them from getting cold. Mu Yin blinks. How long has it been since she saw such a scene? It seems like when she was in the Yinwu continent, the aloof Di Jun also didn't care about condescending to wash her hands and make soup for her. Nyangqin. Xiao Bao sees Mu Yin in the blink of an eye. His taut little face immediately blooms with a smile, and his blue eyes shine brightly as he pounces over. It's just when Mu Yin wants to reach out and hug him. Xiao Bao hurriedly stops and shyly takes 2 steps back. Xiao Bao is dirty. I can't hug Nyangqin. Xiao Bao was busy just now, not only helping to warm the dishes. He also helped to wash vegetables, pick vegetables, and chop firewood, getting dirty all over. In fact, if he and his father wanted to do these things, they could do it with a wave of their hands. But Xiao Bao likes to busy himself like this, preparing meals for Nyangqin together with his father. Whenever he thought of his mother eating happily, his heart would soften, as if it was soaked in honey. As soon as Xiao Bao finished speaking, he was pulled over by Mu Yin. She hugged him and kissed him heavily. The dirt on the apron naturally stains Mayan's clean clothes. Xiao Bao frowned like a little adult, his face filled with annoyance. Xiao Bao dirted Nyangqin's clothes. It's just a piece of clothing, I'll just buy some more. Mu Yin kissed Xiao Bao a few more times without a care. How can it be more important than kissing my baby? Only then did Lil Treasure's tightened eyebrows relax. His little face was flushed, and his eyes were filled with happiness. Only then does Mayan let go of Xiao Bao and slowly walks behind Di Mingju. She then reaches out and gently hugs the busy man. Humph! An unhappy snort sounded. Madame finally remembers that there is a person called Ben Jun. Muyan presses her face against his back and softly says, Yin Yu. Di Mingju's body slightly stiffens. This is the first time Mu Yin has taken the initiative to call him by his courtesy name. The voice is so soft and mellow, as if it's filled with infinite affection, and also like a spoiled child full of dependence. It makes his heart soften into a ball. Di Mingju composes himself. After a good while, he says in a slightly hoarse voice, Don't think that Ben Jun won't settle accounts with you like this. Chapter 2191. Yin Yu, Yin Yu, Yin Yu. There's a sizzling sound coming from the stove under his hand, and a burnt smell comes out. Jun Shangdaren's dish finally can't be stir-fried anymore. He reaches out to grab something behind him and abruptly turns around. The two people's positions change. Di Mingju presses him against the stove, his voice unbelievably hoarse. Jun Mayan, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? At the side, Xiao Bao covers his eyes with his small hands, but secretly peeks through the gaps between his fingers to watch this scene. The expression on his small face is both surprised and a bit of a smile. Mu Yin is being watched by Jun Shangdaren's aggressive gaze that seems like it's about to burn, but her expression is still lazy. But those eyes are like a bottomless abyss. They're so deep that you can't see the bottom, but you can vaguely see the man's reflection. He sees Mu Yin gently grabbing Di Mingju's collar, hooking it downwards. Her voice is as light as the wind. It's because I like you too much, so I want to call you more. There's a snapping sound in Di Mingju's mind. He doesn't even think about it as he presses down on the back of Mu Yan's head. He's about to grab those restless lips and fiercely kiss them. However, a pair of smooth, jade-like hands suddenly press against his lips, stopping his movements. Mu Yin says with a smile, Xiao Bao is still watching. Jun Shang, as a father, how can you be so restless? Go. Room. Di Mingju grits his teeth. But he hears Mu Yan's voice becoming more and more full of smiles. That won't do. My husband and son, they've worked so hard to prepare breakfast for me, and I still haven't eaten it. Saying that, she reaches out to grab Di Mingju's lapel and gives it a light push. She conveniently breaks away from his shackles and arrives at the dining table. Xiao Bao, come. What do you want to eat? Nianqin will give it to you. Xiao Bao's face is red. He glances at Di Mingju and immediately scampers over to Mu Yan's side. He says in all seriousness, Nianqin, what do you want to eat? Xiao Bao will give it to you. Mu Yan smiles from ear to ear and kisses his face again. Nianqin's little baby is still the best. Not like some people who come and go as they please. Once they leave, they don't even say a word for several months. Xiao Bao, am I right? Mine's brainless Huabao nods without the slightest hesitation and sells out his father. Daddy is bad, Xiao Bao is good, so Nianqin loves Xiao Bao the most. Di Mingju. He really wanted to crush these two heartless brats to death. Although she's already mentally prepared, hearing that Di Mingju will soon return to the Xiaoxin continent, Mayan is still very depressed. How long would these miserable days of living apart last? The reluctance and longing in Di Mingju's heart is 100 times stronger than Mayan's. He even has the impulse to disregard Mayan's future and pull up the seedlings to help them grow, bringing her directly back to the Xiaoxin continent. But in the end, this crazy and selfish idea is still suppressed by his love for Mu Yin. Di Mingju tightly hugs the person in his arms. Gritting his teeth, he says, there are still some matters to finish in the Xiaoxin continent. Once they're done, Ben Jun will stay here to accompany. However, before he could finish, Mu Yin interrupted him. Di Mingju, have you become stronger? Mingju stares blankly, then nods his head. Although he has become stronger, his domain and energy fluctuations have become unstable. This time, Mingju is really flabbergasted. Mine can actually sense this. In fact, how could mine sense it? It's that restless star domain of hers. Last night, she sneakily took a bite out of Mingju's domain. Baidu search, UC Book League website, letting you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all of them updated in seconds. Chapter 2192. It's been a long time since she and her fiancé reunited, but she fainted. But it was also because the star domain was connected to her divine sense. So she knew that this man was clearly stronger than before. But it seems that he's on the verge of a breakthrough, so the energy fluctuations are still unstable. Mine hooks her arm around Mingju's neck and kisses him on the corner of his lips. Her movements are charming and soft, but the words she says make people not know whether to laugh or cry. Hurry up and go back to strengthen your strength. The stronger your domain is, the stronger the energy I can steal. Later, when Xiaobao and I go to the Xioshin continent, we can eat and drink well, don't you think so? Mingju knows that she's doing this for his own good, but he still can't help but feel pain and sourness in his heart. Yin Yin, don't you want to be with me day and night? It doesn't matter if the breakthrough is pushed back for another half a year. Mine doesn't joke this time, but gently shakes her head. Mingju, I said that I don't want to be your subordinate, and even more so, I don't want to be your burden. Even if we love each other, I'm still June Mayan. I won't become someone else just to accommodate you. You're the same. Saying that, her face slowly raises into a disdainful smile. There will come a day when I will climb to the peak and stand at a height that no one can reach. If you want to be my June Mayan's man, you won't be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with me if you're not strong enough. Mingju doesn't know whether to laugh or cry as he scrapes her nose. Your ambition isn't small. Can I? Of course you can. Mingju lowers his head, sucking on those soft lips. The rest of his words are lingering in his charming and gentle thoughts. If Madam stands at the peak, this husband is willing to accompany you at your side. Anytime and anywhere serve, Madam. Mingju places particular emphasis on the word serve, especially ambiguous. Therefore, even if the kiss was over, that naked aggression and desire still made Mu Yin a little embarrassed and annoyed. Her family's Jun Shangdaren's moral integrity is really getting worse. So much so that every time she fails to tease him, she gets teased instead. It's really boring. After teasing the madam, Jun Shangdaren suddenly remembers something. He calmly says, that Ningdage, drive him far away as soon as possible. Entering his Yin Yin's room in the middle of the night and daring to touch Yin Yin, he's really tired of living. No, if it wasn't enough to just shock his soul, he would have to wipe out his short-term memories. It would be better to directly shock him into an idiot. Mu Yin quickly pulled him back. That won't do. I'm still waiting for Big Brother Ning to give me the Woodfern token. Mingju's expression turned cold. You want to enter the Woodfern secret realm? Mine nodded. When she saw him frown, she hurriedly said, don't try to dissuade me. I must enter the Woodfern secret realm. There's something inside that I must obtain, and I can only obtain it personally. Mingju looks at her with a heavy gaze. What thing? Mayan hesitates for a moment. Then she raises her hand, and the Tian Qin appears in her hand. Two kinds of materials to repair this Qin. All along, Mayan has been using the Tian Qin to fight. She rarely hides the existence of the Tian Qin. But up until now, apart from Xiaobao, no one has ever truly known the origin of the Tian Qin. From the inherited memories of the Bailey Yinlu, she also knows that the Shun musician and the Tian Qin are existences that she absolutely cannot expose. Because at that time, the Shun musicians could be said to be the enemy of the entire Xioshin continent. Perhaps the polar domain was also one of the Shun musicians' enemies. Baidu search for the UC Book League website, allowing you to experience the latest and fastest chapters, all of which are updated in seconds. Chapter 2193. Since she has obtained the inheritance of the Shun musicians, she has enjoyed the benefits that the Shun musicians brought to her. She must take revenge for the Shun musicians' enmity. But this doesn't hinder the feelings between her and Di Mingju. After all, 1,000 years ago, when the Shun musicians were destroyed, Di Mingju wasn't even born yet. Even if he was born, he would probably just be a wimpy kid. Even if there really were people in the polar domain who had enmity with the Shun musicians, they could be singled out and settled individually. At that time, if Di Mingju dares to stop them, he then just changed the golden Bodhi fruit to vine of thorns. Does anyone still remember what the golden Bodhi fruit is? Therefore, this time, Muyan doesn't pay attention to Qi Huang's angry protest in her mind. Just like that, she reveals a part of the Tian Mo Qin's secret in front of Di Mingju. Di Mingju stares at the Tian Mo Qin in a daze. After a long while, he lets out a long sigh. As Muyan is somewhat stunned by his reaction, Di Mingju suddenly pulls her into his arms and deeply kisses her. This little woman in his arms, just like a little fox but draped in the shell of a hedgehog. She was smart and cautious. Even if the two of them are already in love, even if she's determined to start a family with him and start anew, she still tightly covers her own secrets. The inheritance of the Shun musicians, the Tian Mo Qin, who is Xiao Bao's biological father. She has been very careful to hide all of this, not revealing even the slightest bit. Sometimes, when Di Mingju thinks about it, it's not that he doesn't feel depressed and jealous. But there's even more heartache. What kind of injury must a person have suffered? What kind of despairing situation did they fall into that they would put such a solid hedgehog shell on themselves? She knows the pain of being injured too well, so she doesn't dare to expose her soft inner side. She's afraid of being injured again, and even more afraid of losing her most cherished treasure. However, at this moment, this little fox finally opens her outer shell a little, revealing her inner heart in front of him. Even if it's just a little bit hidden and tucked away, Di Mingju regards it as a treasure. As for the fact that he already knew that Mu Yin is the Shun musician's successor, Jun Shangdaran is tight-lipped, completely not intending to say it. He thinks that it would be more interesting to wait until the wedding night to settle accounts with his little wife. Mayan is completely unaware that her words have moved Jun Shangdaran so much. She's being kissed until the sky and earth are spinning, and she can't even stand stably. Only then does Di Mingju reluctantly release her. There's a sudden pain on her finger. Muyan looks down, only to see Di Mingju putting a silver ring on her ring finger. As soon as the ring was placed on her finger, it automatically pricked a small silver needle, causing a drop of blood to drip from her hand. Blood seeped into the surface of the ring, and the silver ring immediately tightened, fixing itself on her ring finger. Faintly, a layer of strange patterns appeared on the surface of the ring, floating in midair. Muyan tried to take it off, but found that it didn't move at all. What is this? The Void Spirit Ring. As Di Mingju speaks, he also takes out one for himself, and is about to put it on his ring finger. Seeing this, Muyan immediately said, I'll do it, I'll do it. She remembered by Xie saying that when a man and a woman exchanged rings, it meant that they were going to be engaged. Last time on the Three Live Stone, her cheap father made such a big blunder. Mine has always felt very sorry for Di Mingju. This time, no matter what, she has to make up for the ceremony. Di Mingju naturally doesn't understand the meaning of exchanging rings for each other. Baidu search UC Book League website and let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all of which are updated in seconds. Chapter 2194. Muyan solemnly puts the ring on the ring finger of his left hand. When the Void Spirit Ring tightens, she lowers her head and kisses it. His heart suddenly softens to an unspeakable degree, like it's being soaked in honey. The corners of his mouth unconsciously raised into a faint and gentle smile. It wasn't until the lovers' rings were put on that Mu Yin remembered to ask what the ring was. "Didn't you want to enter the Woodfern's secret realm?" Di Mingju asked carelessly. "This ring can change the level of your cultivation in the eyes of others." Mu Yan's eyes widened as she stared unblinkingly at him. Di Mingju was very pleased. "What's so great about the Woodfern token? This ring has the mark I left on it when I entered the Woodfern's secret realm. Even the guards wouldn't dare stop you." As soon as he finishes speaking, Mayan is startled and pounces on him. She hugs his face and kisses him heavily. "Di Mingju, I must have saved the Milky Way in my previous life. That's why heaven bestowed you to me." "What Milky Way? And who am I? Which heavens have the gall to bestow this monarch as a gift?" Soft lips kissed him, and a warm, fragrant body pressed against his. The monarch felt that if it was bestowed, then so be it. In any case, he would only bestow it to Yin Yin in this lifetime. In 2 days, the Woodfern's secret realm would open, and Di Mingju would be going to the Xioshin continent. But there was something else that gave Mu Yin a headache. "Xiao Bao, stay at the Alcade branch and help Mother comfort the others, okay?" Xiao Bao didn't refute Mu Yan's words, but he looked listless. His long eyelashes were stained with crystalline tears. Mu Yan's heart softened at the sight of her baby. But this time, she was going to the Woodfern's secret realm to upgrade the Tian Mo Qin. As for the Tian Mo Qin's second stage advancement, he didn't know what kind of commotion or vision it would cause. He didn't even know if the Tian Mo Qin's space would collapse and reform again. Xiao Bao hiding in the space wasn't safe, and appearing in the Woodfern's secret realm was even more dangerous. Mu Yin still wants to say more, but she sees Di Mingju grabbing Xiao Bao by the collar and lifting him up. He says faintly, "I'll talk to him." With that, he grabbed Xiao Bao and disappeared on the spot. When the two of them reappeared, the originally listless little treasure was like a frosted eggplant, and his little lips were trembling slightly. But when he sees Mayan, he immediately pounces over and tightly hugs her, unwilling to let go. "Nyangqin, Xiao Bao will be obedient. Xiao Bao won't go with you." Xiao Bao has to cultivate properly and become stronger so that he can protect Mother in the future. Mu Yin could hear the reluctance in her son's voice, but there was absolutely no unwillingness. She can't help but wonder what Di Mingju told Xiao Bao in the end. Di Mingju throws Xiao Bao out. Then he scoops up the person and holds him tightly in his arms. Ben Jun will personally tell him that Ben Jun can't go with Yin Yin. There's nowhere to vent this belly full of anger. He's just a little bastard. What right does he have to be dissatisfied? Mu Yin. Sure. Jun Shangdaran, you're a good father. Di Mingju takes the person in his arms, but his gaze penetrates the door, looking at the lonely little boy outside. Xiao Bao looks up at the closed wooden door, sparkling tears rolling down his cheeks. But soon, he clenches his small fists, suppressing his disappointment, grievance, and sadness. Baidu search the UC Book League website, let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all updated in seconds. Chapter 2195. The emotions in her eyes are replaced by tenacity. She turns and walks towards the practice field of the Alcade branch. Di Mingju sighs softly and kisses Mayan's hair. Mayan suddenly says, "Di Mingju, Xiao Bao's cultivation has been stagnant ever since he became a hollow immortal. Even if I refine the Ziyuan pill, it won't solve the problem. Do you have any good ideas?" In fact, Xiao Bao isn't even 6 years old yet. Reaching the 4th stage of Hollow Immortal is already an unimaginable talent and strength. But Mayan finds that Xiao Bao's cultivation is like a castle in the sky that would shatter at the slightest touch. A 4th stage Hollow Immortal should be at the peak of Golden Core and early nascent soul. But in the Xioshin continent, he can't use too much immortal qi, so he can't focus on fighting. As a result, Xiao Bao's real strength is starting to fall behind the rest of the Xiaoyao sect, not to mention Mayan who can fight alone. Although Xiao Bao is young, his pride is very strong. If he can't become stronger, he will only be a burden to Mayan. One can imagine his sadness and disappointment. Not to mention the self-loathing demon that happened in the Yinwu continent. This thought has been pressing on Mayan's heart like a maggot in a tarsal bone. That's why she has been studying alchemy with her ninth Shifu. She hopes to find a solution to this problem. Di Mingju looks down at her and says softly, "There is a way." "What way?" Mayan looks at him anxiously. Di Mingju opens his mouth, but swallows his words. "I'll tell you when you come back from the Woodfern's secret realm." "Okay?" Even if Di Mingju keeps delaying, he has no choice but to leave the Xiaoxing continent. Although Mayan is reluctant, she is soon attracted by the Woodfern's secret realm. The day before leaving for the Woodfern's secret realm, Ningsu delivers 3 Woodfern tokens. He seems to have no memory of the night Di Mingju appeared, but his keen intuition makes him look around suspiciously. He looks at Mayan with hesitation in his eyes. Of course, Mayan won't expose her man, so she can only play dumb. However, out of the 3 tokens, she only received 2 of them. "Big Brother Ning, I already have one. I thank you on behalf of 4th Senior Sister and Little 7. Ning Su said anxiously. "Are you really going to use the token of the Starry School? That's too dangerous. You'll become a target straight away." Muyin smiled faintly and said, "Big Brother Ning, I'm planning on going to the Woodfern's secret realm to fight for treasures. Regardless of whether I end up becoming a target or not, I can't avoid danger. Don't worry, I'll protect myself." Ningsu looked at her deeply for a while, then sighed softly, nodded, and left. Muyin always had the illusion that when Ningsu looked at her, he wasn't looking at her, but threw her at someone else. However, Muyin couldn't care less about what Ningsu was thinking. At this moment, she, Lung Yuma, and Luo Yu were carefully leaving the Alcade branch without making any noise. Fortunately, she had only alerted Ningsu when she asked Principal Meng for the Woodfern token. Yun Ruhan was still unaware that Muyin hadn't given up on the idea of going to the Woodfern's secret realm. Otherwise, the 3 of them would have died from eldest senior brother's nagging. He had even summoned the Demon King, Little Uncle Master, to suppress them. The 3 of them moved quickly, arriving outside the Alcade branch in the blink of an eye. Chapter 2196. Looking at the lights in the distance, the 3 of them sighed in relief. However, halfway through their exhalation, they heard a gentle voice. "4th brother, junior sister, 7th brother, it's already so late. Are you still going out?" The 3 of them were almost scared out of their wits. 1 Buddha was born, 2 Buddhas ascended to the heavens. Turning around, they found Chu Moli standing beside the Alcade branch's stone tablet, looking at them with a smile. Behind Chu Mo was Qin Jiao, who was pushing the wheelchair. Mu Yin and the others looked around and sighed in relief when they didn't see the eldest senior brother. "He's 2nd senior brother, 3rd senior brother. You guys are the best. You definitely won't betray us, right?" Luo Yu smiled, 2 cute dimples appearing on her cheeks. "We just want to go to town to play. We don't want to be scolded by eldest senior brother." Qinjiu nodded. "We won't betray you. I knew 2nd senior brother is the best." Chu Moli smiled. "I heard that the Woodfern's secret realm is on an isolated island. So there's a town there?" Luo Yu shouted. "How did you know we were going?" Before she could finish, Muyin covered her mouth. Muyin glared at her idiot teammate, who'd been blasted out of the Woodfern's secret realm, and forced a smile. "3rd senior brother, let's not beat around the bush. We're definitely going to the Woodfern's secret realm." Chu Moli's expression became even more relaxed. "I'm afraid eldest senior brother won't agree." Lung Yuma gritted her teeth. "3rd senior brother, didn't you say that the materials for painting weren't high enough? Also, if you want to get some arrows, we can give you a portion of what we get from the secret realm." Chu Moli smiled without saying anything. Muyin suddenly asked, "3rd senior brother, do you want the corpses of leaving aperture cultivators?" Chu Mo Li's brows immediately relaxed as he leisurely said, "Deal." Luoyu and Lung Yuma were speechless. Damn it, what a pervert. Little junior sister who can keep up with the perverted third senior brother. Do you know how dangerous you are right now? The Woodfern secret realm existed on a nameless island in the Woodfern Sea. However, to reach this nameless island, one couldn't just fly there. The energy fluctuation of this island was very strange. It could counteract the probing of a cultivator's divine sense and spiritual power. It was as if he was forever invisible on the island. Only once every 10 years, when the power of the tides changed, the island would have a different energy fluctuation. And this kind of energy fluctuation was captured by the formation masters from nearly 1,000 years ago. In the Azure Blue realm and the Purple Cloud realm, there were a total of 10 great formations. Through the Woodfern token and the teleportation array, he would be able to enter the nameless island. Mu Yin and the other two naturally chose the teleportation portal closest to the Starry School. After a moment of dizziness, the scenery in front of him suddenly changed. What he saw was a vast beach, a boundless blue sea, waves crashing against the rocky beach from time to time, and a lush forest. Hey, there's actually someone coming from the 9th Transportation Formation this year. Ha ha ha. Could it be that those cowards from the Azure Blue realm haven't been to the Woodfern secret realm for so long that they've forgotten what hell this place is to them? Now they're here to die? Mu Yin raised her head and saw many pairs of ferocious and lustful eyes looking at them from head to toe. Especially when their gazes landed on Mu Yin, it was as if they wanted to pounce on her and rip her clothes to shreds. Chapter 2197. Lung Yuma and Luo Yu glared at them, ready to dig their eyes out. However, a young man walked over and blocked their path. Did you forget that you're not allowed to fight before entering the Woodfern secret realm? Are you trying to break the rules? Io, the young master of the Qin clan, is just as the rumors say. You're a good, righteous man. The group of brutes laughed mockingly. It's a pity that the Qin clan has fallen. Do you still think you're the young master of the Qin clan? If you want to be a good person, you'll have to see if you're fated to do so. The young man's face was filled with shame, but he bit his lip and didn't say anything. The few savage men laughed out loud, but did not say anything else. Instead, they gave Mu Yin and the other two a deep look. It was as if they were prey that they were looking at. Then, they turned and left. The young man turned around and looked at Mu Yin and the others. When he saw that their cultivation bases were only at the first step of the nascent soul realm, he frowned. The Woodfern secret realm isn't a place for ignorant rookies like you to play around in. If you want to live, don't go in when the realm opens. The three idiotic rookies looked at each other. Luo Yu giggled. What's your name, big brother? Thank you for helping us out earlier. As the saying goes, don't slap a smiling face. Not to mention, Luo Yu's smile was only second to little Bao's. The young man's expression softened. I'm Qinqing ya. How can we not go in when the realm opens? Luo Yu asked curiously. Qinqing ya nodded. As long as you have the Woodfern token, anyone below tribulation can enter the teleportation formation on the island. However, those leaving Aperture Stage experts would usually only come here before the secret realm closed in order to protect their disciples who had already obtained the treasures. Although it's embarrassing for you to stay here, with so many leaving Aperture realm experts around, no one will dare make a move on you. After he finished speaking, he saw that the three people in front of him seemed to be deep in thought, but they did not take his words to heart at all. Do you really think that the Woodfern secret realm is a paradise where you can find treasures anywhere you want? Isn't that the case? Mu Yin asked curiously. Qinqing Ye choked. Even if it is, you have to be alive to take it. Not to mention the terrifying demon plants, ferocious beasts, and poisonous swamps. Even humans are in great danger. Those people just now are all at least at the 8th stage of nascent soul. Their first goal in entering the secret realm wasn't to seize the treasure, but to kill. Apart from the disciples of the sects and aristocratic families, they don't dare to touch other rogue cultivators, especially you low-level cultivators from the Azure Blue realm, are all their targets. These people come every time the Woodfern's secret realm opens, and their hands are always stained with blood. Their greatest pleasure in entering the mystic realm is to watch other cultivators cry and beg for mercy, and in the end, die miserably in the cruel slaughter. People usually call these beasts bloodhand jackals. Mu Yan's eyes slightly narrowed, and a cold light seeped out from the bottom of her eyes. Really, no matter where I go, there's this kind of trash and scum. As he spoke, he smiled at Qin Xingye. Thank you for your reminder, young Master Qin. Please take these talismans as a token of my appreciation. Chapter 2198. As he spoke, he stuffed a stack of talismans into Qin Xingye's hands. Hey, you guys? Qin Xingye was completely baffled by their actions. He wanted to say something, but the three of them were already heading deeper into the island. He looked down at the talismans in his hands and sighed. Is it because you brought enough talismans and elixirs that you're so confident? But you should know that these things aren't enough to save lives in the Woodfern's secret realm. Even if it was a pill, it might be of little value, not to mention a mere talisman. Qin Xingye wanted to toss the talismans away, but when he thought about the goodwill of others, he put them away in the end. He didn't even look at the talismans carefully. In the lower right corner of the talismans was a faintly discernible image of a zither and a sword. This was the unique symbol of the talisman sold in Laozi's #1 store under the heavens. When the image was placed under the sun, it would reflect a faint golden light. This represented the mutated talismans of Laozi's #1 store under the heavens. Mu Yan's group casually walked around the nameless island and discovered that 90% of the island center was surrounded by a huge barrier. The barrier wasn't transparent. It was as if it was shrouded in a layer of fog or a high wall, making it impossible to see what was inside. In just an hour of wandering, the three of them discovered countless experts. Basically, 80% of them were at least at the 8th level of nascent soul, or even 5th or 6th level at the very least. There were also a few people left. They were all at the peak of nascent soul. Some were even higher than that. Even if they just stood there without releasing any spiritual energy, they still gave off the feeling of being crushed by Mount Tai. These were the legendary cultivators who had suppressed their cultivation to the nascent soul stage in order to enter the secret realm. But there wasn't a single first-level nascent soul cultivator like Mu Yan. Mu Yan was also very depressed. Di Mingju didn't explain it clearly. He even said that I could change my cultivation at will, but I can only raise it to the lowest level of a realm. Of course, the most important thing was that Mu Yan had brought 2 people with her. The Void Spirit Ring's ability to confuse others was limited. If she only changed Mu Yan's cultivation, she might be able to choose the level at will. But to change the cultivation of 3 people at the same time, the first stage of nascent soul was already the limit. As the 3 of them were strolling around, Mu Yan suddenly felt a chill in his heart, as if he was being stared at by some wild beast. She abruptly turned her head and looked around, but she didn't notice anything. Junior sister, what's wrong? Mu Yan frowned and was about to look in the direction of her intuition when she suddenly heard a girl scream from the other side. Don't come over. Hee, little girl. Since you came from the 6th teleportation formation and the aura of the Woodfern token on you is so weak, there shouldn't be anyone behind you, right? You'll be lonely in the secret realm later. Let us accompany you. The 3 of them looked over. She saw a few more men dressed similarly to the ferocious brawny man who had just provoked her. They were groping a 5th stage nascent soul female cultivator. The lust and greed in their eyes were completely unconcealed. There were also many well-dressed cultivators around the female cultivator. They watched as the female cultivator trembled and cried in panic, but they ignored her. They didn't have any intention of helping her like Qin Yeching. Chapter 2199. The world of cultivation had always been one where the strong preyed on the weak. It was extremely cruel. In the Woodfern's secret realm, the cruelty was magnified countless times over. It was as if the ugliness and greed of human nature had been magnified. There were ferocious beasts and demonic plants all over the secret realm, the ferocious hunters on the surface, and the hateful gazes peeking at him in the dark. Muyin narrowed her eyes slightly. Looks like this trip to the mystic realm will not be smooth sailing. Just then, boom, boom, boom. A dull sound rang out across the entire island, and the ground shook violently. Then, a huge gap gradually appeared in the barrier that was originally shrouded in fog. On both sides of the gap, there were two men standing like statues. The man on the left swept his cold gaze over everyone and said, "The Woodfern's secret realm is open. Nascent soul cultivators enter." Whoosh! For a moment, it was as if a boulder had set off 1,000 ripples. Everyone rushed madly toward the Woodfern's secret realm. "Woodfern medallion, take it out." The two Mystic Realm guards checked everyone's tokens one by one. Whether it was the strong or the weak, the male cultivator or the female cultivator, their expressions did not change in the slightest. They were like puppets, until it's Mayan's turn. Muyin didn't take out her token like the others did. Instead, she touched the void spirit ring lightly. A silhouette that only the three of them could see appeared in the void. "Muyin, can this be used as a pass token?" The two Mystic Realm guards, who had been expressionless all this while, finally revealed a shocked expression. They slowly looked down at Mayan, opening their mouths as if they want to say something. But in the end, he only said respectfully, "Please enter." This strange phenomenon only lasted for a moment. No one else noticed, but the few male cultivators behind Mu Yin and the others looked at each other in dismay, revealing suspicious expressions. "So, this is the Woodfern's secret realm. Oh my God, I didn't believe it when people said that we could pick up treasures just by bending down to pick them up. It's actually true. Look, that's a 5th grade fire pomegranate fruit. It's the best primer for refining fire-type elixirs. Damn, is this green mist grass? That is a top-grade spirit grass used to feed spirit beasts. It can be bought and sold for several pieces of top-grade crystal stones, but here it grows in such a large area." What they saw was a beautiful, tranquil valley. There were many flowers, fruits, and trees. All were at least 5th-grade spirit plants, and the most spectacular was the green mist grass that covered the entire valley. Although the green mist grass was only 4th grade, but with so many of them added together, the value definitely exceeded 1 million crystals. When the three of them entered the Woodfern's secret realm, they felt like bumpkins entering a village. They were excited, but at the same time, they didn't know what to do. There were simply too many high-level spirit herbs and spirit medicines, and they didn't know where to start. Furthermore, every cultivator who entered the Woodfern's secret realm would be sent to a random location. The three of them were extremely lucky. There was not a single person around the valley they were in. They could easily turn this place upside down. Realm Earth on. Alas, I prepared 3 storage rings and a dozen or so cosmos pouches. I thought it would be enough. But looking at it now, these green mist grass are not enough. Mayan waves her hand. "It's fine, you can dig as much as you want. I brought more than a dozen storage rings. If it's still not enough, just put it in my space." Luo Yu and Lung Yu Mo were overjoyed. Long live Junior's sister. Chapter 2200. Jun Mayan. "How dare you put all this trash in here?" Chi Huang was exasperated. "Believe it or not, I'll throw them all out." Mayan sneered. "Chi Xiaowang, can't you see how poor I am right now? These things can be sold for tens of millions of crystals. But you won't let me put them in? Fine. Give me back all the crystals you owe me." Chi Huang choked, then said unwillingly, "What's so good about picking up this trash? I won't even spare a glance at some 5th and 6th grade elixirs when they're in front of me." Jun Mayan, shouldn't your top priority be to find the Scarlet Flame Gold and Black Ironwood? Mayan leisurely nibbled on a snow soul fruit. "What's the hurry? The Woodfern's secret realm will only be explored for a month. The entire island is only so big. 1 month is more than enough to turn this place upside down. Or, can you tell me where to find the Scarlet Flame Gold and Black Ironwood? Chi Huang really shut his mouth this time. He hadn't sensed the aura of the Sky Demon Zither's restoration materials, even though he'd been in the secret realm for a while. Mayan tossed the Snow Soul fruit away and was about to help Luo Yu and the others dig up the elixirs. But the two pushed her back. Junior sister, rest well. They shoved another Snow Soul fruit at her. He will do the hard work. Senior sister, you just need to put the things back. Mayan laughed and didn't stand on ceremony. She leisurely lay down on the side. Just when the two of them had hollowed out more than half of the valley, a few figures dashed towards them. I've finally found you. Several tall and burly male cultivators stood in front of Mayan, looking down at her condescendingly. Their eyes were glued to the void spirit ring on her left hand's ring finger. These were the cultivators who'd followed Mayan when she passed through the Woodfern's secret realm's guards. They were the only ones who'd seen the guards' shocked expressions when they saw Mayan's ring. Then, they looked at Mayan with incomparable respect. They guessed that the origin of Mayan's void spirit ring wasn't simple. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Mayan's cultivation was only at the first stage of nascent soul. With such a low cultivation and such weak strength, he actually had such a treasure. Wasn't he just asking others to snatch it? Therefore, as soon as they entered the mystic realm, they immediately searched everywhere for traces of them. The heavens did not disappoint those who worked hard. They had finally found it. Little girl, I advise you to obediently hand over the ring on your left hand if you don't want to suffer. This way, we might be able to spare your lives. Muyen takes a bite of the Schweppe fruit and reaches out to look at the ring on her finger. She says unhurriedly, "This won't do. This ring was given to me by my fiancé. I like it very much." Ha, little girl. As the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. If you want to live to see your fiancé, you better listen to him. You should be glad that we're not like those blood-handed jackals. We don't have the hobby of torturing, killing, and raping a delicate beauty like you. But our patience is limited. We want money, and you want to live. Let's work together. You're good, I'm good, and we're all good. Don't you agree? Mine looked at fourth sister and Xiao Qi, who were still busy pulling weeds. They only glanced at them once before ignoring them. Her eyes curved into a faint smile. That's right. Let's work together. You're good, I'm good, and we're all good. Chapter 2201. Since you understand, then hurry up and teach us the ring. Seeing that Mu Yin was willing to compromise, their eyes shone with excitement and greed. Then, they saw the little girl, who was so beautiful that she didn't seem like a mortal, walking towards them with a smile. An hour later, "Bosses, this is freshly roasted wind pheasant chicken. Have a taste." Mu Yin and the other two were leisurely lying under the temporary shelter, eating the delectable spirit fruits and the fragrant pheasant chicken. The male cultivators who wanted to rob Mu Yin earlier were all bruised and swollen. With that appearance, even their own mothers might not be able to recognize them. Half of the male cultivators had taken over Luo Yu and Lung Yuma's work, digging up the spirit herbs and herbs in the valley. The other half built a temporary tree shed and carefully waited on him with flattering smiles on their faces. These people came from a third-rate sect in the Purple Cloud realm, the Green Tooth sect. The Green Tooth sect's strength was considered low in the Purple Cloud realm. This group of people included almost all the nascent soul cultivators in the sect. The eldest senior brother, Chinda, had already reached the 7th level of nascent soul. But even so, this kind of strength could only be at the bottom of the Woodfern's secret realm. If they were not careful, the 6 of them from the Green Tooth sect could be casually crushed to death by others. Therefore, Chinda and the others had always been cautious, not daring to have any ideas on the disciples of the sects or powerful rogue cultivators. With great difficulty, they had their eyes on Muyan's 3 first-level nascent soul cultivators. They were wild with joy, thinking that they would be able to hide and wait until the end of the secret realm. Who knew that they would kick an iron plate? This first-level nascent soul cultivator, who looked weak and gentle, was too fierce. She alone beat the 6 of them up until they cried for their parents. In the end, the 6 of them were fed golden silkworms. If they resisted, the golden silkworms would spread through their bodies and bite through their organs, making them beg for death. This time, the 6 of them didn't even have the slightest bit of courage to resist. They could only obediently serve these devils. After eating their fill, the entire valley was more or less hollowed out. Muyan stretched herself and beckoned Chunda with her finger. Chunda immediately ran over. "Boss, what can I do for you? Have you heard of crimson flame gold and mysterious ghostwood?" Chunda nodded. "Of course. I'm sure everyone who enters the Woodfern's secret realm knows about these 2 items. I heard that several sects and families are determined to get their hands on these 2 treasures. Do you know where to find these 2 things?" "Boss, you must be joking. How would a third-rate sect like us know?" Chunda forced a smile and shook his head. However, his expression suddenly stiffened. "Oh, boss, you can't be thinking of getting the crimson flame gold and the profound ghostwood, right?" Muyen raises her eyebrows. "What? Can I?" No, boss, don't joke around. Although I don't know the exact location of the Scarlet Blaze metal and profound ghostwood, I'm certain that they're in the center of the Woodfern's secret realm. Every time the secret realm opens, only leaving Aperture Realm cultivators with their cultivation suppressed can enter the center. "Boss, don't go looking for them, cough." Muyen didn't think much of Chinda's words. "Where's the center?" she asked thoughtfully. Baidu search, UC Book League website, let you experience the latest and fastest chapters, all updated in seconds. Chapter 2202. Chunda looks at her tone. She really wants to snatch the Scarlet Flame Gold and the mysterious Ghostwood. He immediately breaks out in cold sweat. But on second thought, he feels baffled. What does it have to do with him that this female devil wants to throw away her life? What is he worried about? He quickly composes himself and says, "It's said to be the most central location, but in fact, no one knows how to get there. Moreover, the gateway to the central core area usually only appears 10 days after the secret territory is opened. Of course, those big sects and families might have already grasped the pattern of the central area's appearance, but this isn't something that small fries like us can know." Mayan stands up and waves her hand. "Since this place has been dug out, let's move on to the next place." Lung Yuma and Luo Yu immediately happily agree, looking eager to try. Chunda and the others look at this valley that looks like it's been invaded by locusts. They can't help but shiver. What is called plucking feathers from wild geese. This is it, a valley with verdant hills and clear waters, rich in spiritual chi, has been dug out by them until not a single blade of grass is left. However, this valley can be considered the most tranquil and peaceful place. The elixirs inside are also of low level, so there aren't many people who come to snatch them. In another place, the high-level elixirs are basically guarded by vicious beasts, and there are greedy cultivators who covet and snatch them at any time. These few youngsters are only at the first level of nascent soul. Can they really run amok? Boom! There's a loud noise, and the 3 rank 8 vicious beasts don't even have the chance to roar before they heavily fall to the ground. Gulp! Chunda and the others all swallow their saliva. They look at each other and see the shock in each other's eyes. So strong. How can these 3 little babies at the first level of nascent soul be so strong? Even if there's only 1 rank 8 vicious beast, the 6 of them would still be battered and exhausted if they joined hands to deal with it. However, 3 Class 8 dire beasts were easily taken care of by each of them, and the time taken was at most a quarter of an hour. Kicking away the vicious beast in front of her, Mine quickly walks over to a small golden plant. Her eyes brighten. Rank 8 Buddha fruit. This is a good thing. Even if it was sold as a spiritual plant, an 8th grade Buddha fruit could be sold for hundreds of thousands of high-grade crystals. Not to mention, The Buddha fruit could be used to refine many supreme grade pills, and the value of these pills was simply immeasurable. And there were 3 8th-grade Buddha fruits in front of him. Mu Yin carefully picks the Buddha fruit and puts it into the space. On the other side, Luo Yu and Lung Yuma were already instructing Chinda and the rest to dig out the rank 8 beast core. There are a lot of treasures on the body of a level 8 vicious beast, but the vicious beast body is too big. Moreover, it's covered in blood and dirt, looking very dirty. Mayan and the other two don't like it. Therefore, he only dug out the most valuable horn, extracted the spine, and extracted the blood from the heart. He then threw the remaining 3 ferocious beast carcasses to Chunda and the rest. Chunda was flattered. These are really for us? Even without its horns and spine, the flesh and blood of a Class 8 dire beast were still very valuable. That's because there's an extremely rich energy inside, and the bones and skin are also excellent materials for refining tools. Mine waves her hand. If you want it, then take it. Consider it as a reward for your roasted pheasant chicken. Roasted pheasant chicken is not bad. T_T. So this is their use. Chapter 2203. Thank you, boss? Although Chunda and the others look like they have nothing to live for, they're actually very happy in their hearts. In the beginning, they followed Mu Yin and the others because they failed in robbing and were instead coerced. The golden silkworm goo in their bodies made them have no choice but to obey. But now, they are truly willing to follow Mu Yin and listen to her orders. Because there are too many benefits to be gained by following the 3 bosses. In less than 3 days, they have already destroyed the nests of 5 vicious beasts. They have killed more than 20 rank 7 and above vicious beasts, and among them, there is even a vicious beast that has just advanced to rank 9. And Mu Yin has already collected more than a dozen of rank 7 and 8 elixirs, let alone ordinary rogue cultivators. Even the elite disciples of those aristocratic families and sects don't have such high efficiency. And while the 3 bosses eat meat, Chunda and the others, who are at their beck and call, naturally also drink a lot of soup. The harvest of 3 days is actually greater than the harvest of the disciples of Green Tooth sect in a month. Everyone look carefully. Don't miss out on any clues. When we find the demon beasts, we will go and inform the boss. Big brother, we all understand. Don't worry. When we find the vicious beasts and elixirs, the boss will give us more good things when the time comes. Chunda is leading his fellow disciples to look for traces of vicious beasts. Suddenly, a woman's shrill scream comes from not far away. Immediately after, there is the cruel and carefree laughter of several men. Little girl, you think we can't find you by hiding in this remote periphery? I've already told you, no prey that has been targeted by us bloodhand jackals has ever been able to escape. No, don't come over. I'm begging you to let me go. The female cultivator cries and begs, her voice full of panic. I will give you all the treasures on me. I only beg you to let me go. Treasures? To us grandfathers. Only your soft and tender body is the treasure we want the most. Come. Grandfathers can't wait to hear your beautiful screams, to see your skin being peeled off and your scarlet flesh dancing in front of us. Chunda's heart sank. He could tell that these men were the most feared and hated existences in the Woodfern's secret realm, the blood-handed jackals. So long as he was caught by them, he would suffer a fate worse than death, especially the lone female cultivators. On the other hand, the bloodhand jackals usually had very high cultivation levels. Almost every one of them was above the 8th level of nascent soul. Moreover, they had been through hundreds of battles and their hands were stained with blood. They were not people that ordinary sect disciples like them could fight against. Let's go quietly. Don't let anyone make a sound, Chunda whispered to his junior. However, before he could finish speaking, he saw his youngest junior brother, Xu Yong, had a livid expression, and his eyes were filled with rage. Suddenly, he charged forward like a madman. You bunch of beasts! Let go of Xiao Xiao. I won't let you touch her. Oh no. Chunda was shocked. He wanted to stop Xu Yong, but it was too late. Xu Yong, who rushed out, naturally exposed their existence. The muscular men with scars on their faces stared at them with bloodthirsty eyes. Oh, so there are a few mice hiding here. Chapter 2204. Haha, I didn't expect a rat to be so daring. He actually wants to steal our prey. Not bad, not bad. I was just worried that there was only one girl, and there wasn't enough for all of us. Now that there are a few more, we can finally have fun. Xu Yong from the Green Tooth sect blocked in front of a pretty girl. His legs were trembling, but he refused to step aside. The pretty girl was already in despair. When she saw Xu Yong suddenly rushing out, she was stunned at first, and then her tears fell like rain. Brother Yong, why are you here? She suddenly thought of something and pushed Xu Yong with her small hands. Go, go. They are bloodhound jackals. They won't let you go. Ha 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 ha. You're already here, and you still want to leave? Little girl, are you dreaming? As he spoke, the leader looked at Li Xiaoxiao and Xu Yong, who was blocking in front of her. His eyes turned lewdly and cruelly. Tiske, this slut acts like a chaste woman in front of us. Now that we see her little lover, look at her pure and innocent slut. Why don't we dig out this rat's eyes and put them aside? Let him watch how we play with this slut. That's a good idea. What about the others? I don't have enough human skin. I think we should skin them one by one and cook them for lunch. As the bloodhound jackal spoke, they had already decided the miserable fate of Chunda and the others. Chunda's blood was ice cold. It was as if the scene of him being tortured to death had already appeared before his eyes. He wanted to run, wanted to tell his fellow disciples to run, but his throat seemed to be stuck, and he couldn't make a sound. The blood-handed jackals walked towards Xu Yong and kicked him to the ground. Another person grabbed Li Xiaoxiao, who was screaming, and tore her clothes. Their rough hands left bruises on Li Xiaoxiao's delicate, snow-white skin. Xu Yong let out a crazy roar and kept struggling, wanting to pounce out. However, his chest was stepped on, and he kept vomiting blood. He couldn't move. Seeing his junior brother in such a miserable state, Chunda and the others' eyes turned red. Suddenly, he roared and threw out an explosive talisman. Motherfuckers, I'll fight you to the death. The other members of the Green Tooth sect were roused as well. They attacked the jackals and wolves in a frenzy. However, in the Woodfern secret realm, strength was everything. The bloodhound jackal could easily crush them, who were only at the 5th or 6th level of the nascent soul stage. In just a short while, they were all thrown to the ground. A foot stepped on Chunda's chest, and the muscular man on top of him let out a ferocious laugh. You want to fight us to the death? Ha! With just a few little mice like you. What right do you have to fight with us? Just because of this? Ah! Chunda let out a blood-curdling scream. His left hand suddenly flew into the air and landed in the hands of the burly man. In Chunda's left hand was an explosion talisman used for mutual destruction. The little mouse is so pitiful. Even if it wants to perish together, it can only use such a useless method. Although it's a pity to tear off a whole piece of human skin, I've changed my mind. The jackal cackled. How about this? You don't need to skin him. Instead, you'll cut off a human swine and marinate it in a jar. When we find the food bland, we'll cut off a piece to go with it. Chapter 2205. A piece of flesh cut off alive might even bounce a few times in the mouth. It must taste delicious. What do you guys think? The wolves roared with laughter. Chunda and the Green Tooth sect disciples had already given up all hope. Xu Yong vomited blood and fainted. Li Xiaoxiao was already pressed down by a certain impatient wolf. No matter how much she screamed, she could only endure the humiliation. The entire forest was filled with the wild laughter of the wolves, as well as miserable howls that seemed to come from the depths of hell. Just as the wolf stepping on Chunda was about to chop off his other hand, a light flashed. That jackal's expression turned cold, and he quickly retreated. Then, A voice as sweet as the sounds of nature drifted over from outside the forest. You want to turn my little brother into a human swine? Have you asked for my opinion? Chun Da's body trembled, and he looked up in a daze. He saw three figures slowly walking out of the forest. There was a valiant woman dressed as a man in red, a handsome and cute young man, and a young girl who was so beautiful under the sunlight that it could make one's heart tremble. Each of them was so dazzling, as if they were gods that had descended from the heavens. The blood-handed jackal was startled by the sudden attack. When they realized that it was just a few first-stage nascent soul brats, they immediately relaxed. Which little bastard was it that ambushed me? The wolf whose hand had almost been cut off turned to look at Mayan. When he saw her face, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Top quality? Really top quality. He swallowed his saliva. Old lie, Mazi. We've been roaming the secret realms for so long. But have we ever seen such a top-quality girls? The two wolves called Old Lie and Mazi had their mouths wide open, their faces filled with infatuation. Beautiful. She's too beautiful. How is this a woman? She's practically a demon. This trip to the Woodfern's secret realm wasn't in vain. Just playing with a top-quality girl like this is worth it. Ha! Chunda and the others, who had been shocked and moved by Mayan's appearance, immediately paled. Chunda didn't even care about his broken hand. He shouted, "Boss, hurry up and leave. These people were blood-hand jackals. Run!" Chunda and the others know that Mu Yin and the others are very powerful. However, no matter how strong he was no match for the blood-hand jackal. Each of the blood-hand jackals had killed countless people. The fact that they could survive for so long amidst the hatred and fear of others was enough to prove how strong they were. But at least with Boss's strength, if he didn't care about them, he should be able to escape. Trying to escape? The jackals laughed 3 times and rushed over like lightning, surrounding the 3 of them. It's too late to escape now that you've fallen into our trap. The leader, a man with a hooked nose, licked his lips. The best girl is mine. You guys can divide the rest. Ha! I heard that the taste of beautiful men is much better than those women. I haven't repaid you yet. Give this rabbit brother to me and Mazi. So, we can only choose this tomboy. TSK. This chick looks hot, but the hotter she is, the more interesting it is. I like it, huh? Chunda and the others' eyes were filled with despair, but they were still shouting for them to run with bloody tears on their faces. Chapter 2206. On the other hand, Mayan and the other 2 are still leisurely and carefree, as if they didn't notice the greedy and cruel gazes of the blood-handed jackals. Mu Yin rubs her chin, her gaze faintly turning. Each of them has at least 10 Chinquan bags. These people should have a lot of good stuff on them. Luo Yu said agitatedly. He can't be worse than those poor bastards from Green Tooth sect. Chunda and the other poor people. Lung Yumal waved the blade in her hand. Her eyes seem to be burning with flames. Whether or not he is poor, we will know after stripping him. The few blood-handed jackals did not expect that these little fellows would not panic even after being surrounded by them. Instead, they were talking among themselves, completely ignoring them. For a moment, everyone's faces darkened. What the blood-handed jackals wanted to see the most was their prey begging for mercy and suffering in pain. The people they had met in the past were often scared out of their wits upon hearing their names before they could even torture them. They would kneel down and beg for mercy. But what was going on with these people? Oh, that's right. These little bastards were only at the first stage of the nascent soul realm, so they must have been carefully raised by some sect. How could they understand the law of the jungle in the cultivation world? How could they have heard of blood-handed jackals? That was why the ignorant were fearless. But that's good. The more naive and immature a young chick was, the more unbearable it would be when it was tortured, and the terrified and despairing look on its face would make one's heart itch. Just thinking about it made his lower body harden. The hook-nosed blood-hand jackal walks towards Mu Yin, step by step. There's a greedy and blazing light in his eyes, as if he wants to strip her naked. Little girl, you want to strip Grandpa's clothes? Ah. Come on, Grandpa has been waiting impatiently for a long time. There are still many good things waiting to be fed to you. The corner of Mayan's mouth hooks up into a shallow smile. Her slender hand reaches out and grabs the lapel on his chest. Under the sunlight, the skin of that hand was as clear as jade, delicate and white. Her slender fingers were slender and beautiful, and the joints of her fingers were almost invisible. It was a stark contrast to the blood-handed jackal's hairy chest. The hook-nosed man swallowed a mouthful of saliva and felt that his lower body was so hard that it hurt. He could not bear it any longer and was about to pounce on this little girl and set the array formation on the spot. Suddenly, hundreds of white lights flashed. It was as if he could hear the sound of the zither raining down on him. An indescribable fear rose in the hook-nosed man's heart, and he quickly flew backwards. Unfortunately, it was still too late. Ah! Countless blood mists exploded from the hook-nosed man's body and scattered in the air. 2 arms and 2 legs flew out along with it. When the hook-nosed man fell from the sky, he was already covered in blood. He had no limbs, no nose, and no ears, a human swine. At the scene, everyone fell into a dead silence. Only the screams of the hook-nosed man reverberated in everyone's ears. "You, who exactly are you?" The remaining blood-handed jackals look at the crooked nose that doesn't even resemble a human's. Then look at Mayan. There's no longer any leisurely savagery on their faces. That attack just now was because the hook-nosed man had lost his mind due to his lust, which was why he was ambushed. But even if it was a sneak attack, with the hook-nosed man's strength, it was impossible for him to fall into such a miserable state. It could only be said that this girl's strength far surpassed her cultivation level. The speed of that attack just now was so fast that it couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Enchantress and the others are even more dumbfounded. Chapter 2207. They've always known that the several bosses are very strong, but they didn't expect that they would be this strong. Even if they go all out on their side, the Blood Hands Jackals wouldn't have the slightest bit of power to resist. In the blink of an eye, the big boss, on her own, has turned the vicious jackals into human swine. In the end, just how big of a misunderstanding did they have about the boss strength? Mayan turns her wrist, and the tea on Chin spins in her palm. The strings make a melodious sound because of this shake. Her peach blossom eyes slightly rise, revealing a charming and languid smile. "It's useless for you to know who I am." Luo Yu grins and says, "Because you're all going to turn into human swine very soon." The Blood Hands Jackal's faces twist all of a sudden, anger mixed with fear. I know who they are." Suddenly, Ma Zi, who was among them, let out a cry of surprise. "I've seen them in the photographic talismans circulated in Divine Elephant City. They are the winning team of the Deer Cry Banquet, the Carefree team. The woman who cut the boss is the famous murderous god, Monarch Mayan." As soon as this shout comes out, the Blood Hands Jackals and the others not only aren't frightened, they look at each other in dismay, revealing an incredulous expression. Isn't the Deer Cry Banquet something that only core formation cultivators can participate in? Moreover, the core formation cultivators who can participate in the Deer Cry Banquet can't be more than 30 years old. In the Xiojin continent, where the average age is more than 200 years old, 20 years old is really too young. Ma Zi's face shows a sinister smile. If I remember correctly, the Carefree team had not reached the peak of core formation a few months ago. Even if they are evildoers, it's impossible for them to break through the nascent soul stage now. So the ones standing arrogantly in front of us now are just a few core formation stage ants? They must have used some kind of secret method to change their cultivation. Ma Zi resolutely says, but their real strength is undoubtedly at the core formation stage. The Blood Hands Jackals are stunned. At the same time, they have serious doubts about the hook-nosed man's strength. A dignified expert of the 8th level of nascent soul, the Bloody Butcher, was actually cut into human swine by a little core formation girl? Who would believe such a thing? A few gold core stage trash actually dare to show off in front of us. I think you've read too many legendary novels. Before he could finish speaking, a burst of flames suddenly soared into the sky, and a sharp saber aura rushed toward him. At the same time, countless puppets descended from the sky. Some of them were as big as Mount Tai, while others were as thin as needles. They drowned the others with an earth-shattering force. The melodious sound of a zither resounded in the forest, and it was accompanied by shrill screams and wails. It seemed extremely strange and terrifying. Chunda and the others shuddered at the same time. They stood at the side and kept quiet out of fear. Just a moment ago, they hated these blood-handed jackals to the bone, but now they felt an inexplicable sympathy for them. Chunda held his broken arm and gulped. I now feel that Boss's punishment is too gentle, too lenient. The remaining 5 green-toothed sect disciples nodded furiously. The 6 of them had failed to rob Boss June and ended up being enslaved. At first, they complained about how cruel Boss June was and how unlucky they were. But now, it seemed that they weren't unlucky at all. Search UC Book League on Baidu and experience the latest and fastest chapters. All the chapters are updated in seconds. Chapter 2208. Compared to the people in front of them, they were so lucky. The greedy and ferocious blood-handed jackals 15 minutes ago were now reduced to their bare bodies. Now, all that was left of them were their bodies. They were placed in a straight line on the grass. In front of them were hands and feet that were raised high up in the air. Each person had 4 limbs, and they were very even. The blood-handed jackals' noses and ears had been cut off, and their bodies were riddled with finger-sized or bowl-sized bloody holes. He kept screaming, begging for mercy, and cursing in anger. Stinking whore, bitch, kill us if you can kill us, We're an organization. Bitch, if you dare treat us like this, the rest of us won't let you off. I was wrong. I won't do it again. Master June, please spare me. I can't take it anymore. However, these screams didn't seem to reach the 3 people's ears. Luo Yu and Lung Yumao were happily collecting their spoils. Mu Yin sat at the side leisurely, gnawing on the spirit fruit that the green-toothed sect members had just picked for her. When the spirit fruit was finished, the spoils were also collected. Only then did the 3 of them look at the jackals on the ground, who looked neither human nor ghost, with smiles on their faces. Because of the bountiful treasures they'd just collected, they looked at the human jackals with much gentleness. Since they contributed so many treasures, why don't we give them a quick death? Luo Yu said kindly. Before Mu Yin and Lung Yuma could speak, they heard the hook-nosed man roar angrily. Bitch, don't be too arrogant. You want me to beg for mercy? No way. Come on. If you have the ability, then come and torture me. See if I, your grandfather, will beg for mercy. Those outside the Woodfern secret realm are only low-level members of the blood-handed jackals. If you dare treat us like this, the higher-level jackals will definitely avenge us. At that time, none of you will be able to escape. We will slaughter the entire Starry School. Bang! Before he could finish, his head was smashed into the ground. Mu Yin condescendingly looks at him, as well as the rest of the Bloody Hands jackals. The smile on her face was bright and beautiful. I used to think that the Blood Hand jackals only liked to torture others, listen to their screams, and cut them into human swine. But I didn't expect you to beg me to torture you. TSK, I didn't expect you guys to be into this too. I was planning to give you guys a quick death, but it seems I was wrong. Since that's the case, we'll fulfill your request. Next, we'll entertain you guys well. We'll definitely make you feel like you're at home, and enjoy yourself so much that you'll forget about your duties. Except for the hook-nosed jackal, the other blood-handed jackals were horrified. Don't spout nonsense. We don't like to be tortured, we just want to be relieved. Unfortunately, these people wanted to speak, but they didn't even have the chance to. Because as soon as they opened their mouths, tiny puppets crawled into their mouths and bit off their tongues. And so, in the next hour, the only thing left was their screams, echoing through the forest. Finally, when the blood-handed jackals breathed their last. Their hateful gazes weren't directed at Mu Yin, but at the hook-nosed jackal, who was 100 times more miserable than they were. Baidu search for the UC Book League website, allowing you to experience the latest and fastest chapters. Chapter 2209. Even if they reached the Yellow Springs, they'd still have to settle this score. Mu Yin tossed out the golden silkworm goo, and not long after, the corpses were completely devoured. The Green-Tooth sect members gulped again. Xiao Yao team's name. I think I heard it from my distant cousin in Azure Blue World. They have a name in Azure Blue World called the Seven Unfettered Demons. And the leader of the Xiao Yao team, Mu Yin, has a title 100 times more resounding than the alluring killing god. What title? She-Devil. The Green-Tooth sect members. This title is really fucking fitting. The 6 of them thought that their voices were very soft. But how could Mu Yin not hear them with her current hearing? She became gloomy. What the hell? This title of She-Devil is something that I can't get away with. Luo Yu nodded repeatedly. That's right. Our 6th senior sister is as beautiful as a flower, kind-hearted, and likes to draw pictures of beautiful women. Whenever she has time, she slaps faces and tortures trash. How can she be called a she-devil? How can a she-devil display 6th senior sister strength? You should be called the incarnate she-devil. Ouch, it hurts. Mu Yin pulled on his face. Lan Xiaoqi, are you itching for a beating? Wuba. Luo Yu's cheeks puffed up, his eyes watery. Lu Sijia. Wuba. Only then did Mu Yin let go of him. Lung Yuma looked at Luo Yu's pitiful appearance, like a bullied little kitten. Suddenly, she tossed the storage ring in her hand that contained the spoils of war. Her eyes lit up as she said, Junior sister, I thought of a good idea to get rich. What idea? The two asked in unison. Lung Yuma's gaze swept over Luo Yu, and she revealed a malicious smile. Rob? Rob? Luo Yu was confused. Where? Mu Yan's mind flashed, and her thoughts immediately became clear. She smiled back at Luo Yu, her expression indescribably gentle. Xiaoqi, whether we can make a fortune in the Woodfern's secret realm will depend on you. Luo Yu felt a chill down her spine, a bad premonition rising in her heart. Above the valley leading to the core region of the Woodfern's secret realm, a group of nascent soul cultivators were flying on their swords. They had just plucked a few rare spirit herbs, killed a few ferocious beasts, and robbed a few weaklings. Now, they were filled with the fruits of victory and were in high spirits as they advanced towards the core area that was filled with even more treasures. Suddenly, someone called out in a low voice, Senior brother, look, there's a kid by the lake. Is he holding a 9th grade Buddha's Fury Lotus? Everyone lowered their heads to look. Sure enough, he saw a young man of 18 or 19 years of age beside a lake in the valley not far away. The young man was holding a shimmering golden lotus in his hand, and he was looking around with a bewildered expression. She looked lonely, helpless, and pitiful. And the Buddha's Fury Lotus in his hand was so tempting. Gulp! The rank 9 Buddha Fury Lotus is guarded by at least 4 rank 8 ferocious beasts. We don't dare to get close. How did this kid get it? Who cares how he got it? The Buddha's Fury Lotus is ours now. Maybe he got separated from his sect. He's only at the first stage of the nascent soul realm. A weakling like him actually dares to enter the Woodfern's secret realm. As long as we kill him and take the Buddha's Fury Lotus, no one will know it was us. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.